So anyway, everyone, thank you for coming through. Really happy to have you all here. To my audience and of course to my panelists because this is a Reverie Roundtable, which we do every Monday at I was going to say Wednesday, every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And somehow we've been managing to put it together every month. We haven't missed a Monday yet. So somehow we've been able to keep this streak going, but it's only because of great people who show up and support. So I'll introduce my amazing guests who've been so kind to share their time with us. So we'll start with Alice. Alice, who literally was invited 15 minutes ago. No, a half hour ago from now. Yes. Hey, Alice. How are you?
I am pretty good. Nice to see you. Glad to be here. A different panel than I'm normally on. So, hi everybody.
Yeah.
Find me on Twitch. I stream on Twitch and Discord, Calliopean Club Discord. Come join us. That's why I'm here. Actually, secretly to simp for Calliopean clubs.
Absolutely. And exclamation point errors in chat, so you don't have to spell that out. But yeah, thanks so much. Next, we have a goddamn MVP. His name is Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis, thanks for coming back here to the Reverie Roundtable. Really appreciate having you on, my friend. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Got to see some faces that I've obviously seen here before. Some I haven't, so it should be kind of fun today.
Your mic isn't quite as clear as it usually does. It's got kind of that airy, static type thing. Not like...
Yeah, it's a little bit on the back end, right?
Yeah. But it's still,
gotcha.
But we can understand you. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll work on it in the background.
Sure. Next, of course, we have another person who is an all-star on this particular panel. His name is LSP. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about counterpoints.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Hey, LSP, I love you too. All right. I didn't know if he was talking about me or not.
Oh, you're right.
Hopefully, he comes back. Yeah, so just an introduction. My name is Connor. I think most people who fucking LSP, goddammit. Yeah, so my name is Connor. I run a YouTube channel named Counterpoints. I love debating politics on the internet. In particular, I like coming into left spaces and then getting triggered and then yelling at people. I do use an excessive amount of profanity. That's because I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps and 4 years as a law enforcement officer. I was not allowed to use profanity against my superiors in the Marine Corps, and I wasn't allowed to use profanity against the general public when I was a law enforcement officer. So I make up for that by yelling at people about politics on the internet. So if you want to check me out, easiest way to do that is just go to YouTube, type in Counterpoints, or alternatively go on Twitter and type in CONORPOINTS, Counterpoints, and you can find me on either one of those platforms. So Prime, thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure to be here and yell it out.
As always, thank you. We're thankful for you accepting your invitation. And oh hey, it's LSP. LSP. I was saying great things about you before you disappeared. I was telling you how you're like my best friend and stuff.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. I am really glad I can be here so I can tell these fine folks about this channel I really like and respect called Dylan Burns. The Hippie Dippy Podcast. So give them your support. Throw them some Twitch Prime subs. Help a man out. Dylan does great content.
You know what? He does. Dylan does do great content, so you should go help him out. And also, LSP, if he actually streamed, but he doesn't. But LSP, thank you for coming through. Really appreciate you stopping by. And yes, really kind. You even helped with one of the questions, at least one of the questions. So thank you so much. Next, we will go to our Dark Lord who might be in love. Doobie, thank you for stopping by once again. You've changed things up a bit. How are you doing today, Doobie?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on. For those of you who do not know me, I am Doobie. I help run the politics server on Discord. It is the greatest, just greatest anything on Discord ever. You can get there. You'll find tons of people to argue with about everything. The link is discord.gg/politics or just politics.gg. That's a new thing that I've done. Yeah, I decided to change up the background because I am the nicest person like on Twitch or Discord, but I felt like the background didn't really like give that that idea. So I made it a little more friendly,
Sure. But Doobie, thank you for stopping by. Exclamation point Doobie in chat if you want to get to his server. Right there for you. But yeah, Doobie, thank you. Uh, yeah, nicest person, exactly, nicest person here on Twitch Politics. Very much appreciated. Next, we have one of the most interesting, more exciting people here on Twitch Politics. That'll be KOE. KOE, thanks for coming back, my friend. You definitely impress. You are a unique individual, certainly, and everyone was quite happy to have you here previously. So I just got to keep giving. As long as you keep accepting, I'm definitely gonna keep calling you back. How are you doing, KOE? You are muted.
For having me.
Oh, there you go. There you go. No, we got you now.
Oh,
We got you now.
Thank you. I didn't want anybody to miss the beautiful summer sounds that are my voice, because it would be here on the Prime K's panel, one of the best and most erudite, beautiful audiences that you could ever find on the internet. It's right here. And folks, we are all here together to discuss the topics of the day. And I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE, the lord of the Scottish Highlands, and also the baron of baldness for the foreseeable future. And this evening, I hope to prove to you all the prince and potentate of the political parlance. And this evening, I am looking forward so much to seeing you and all the views we have. You can find me at KOE Nation on YouTube and Twitch. I also make guest star appearances on Big Bucket Entertainment, the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, Tomfoolery Show, Dad's Worldwide, and Yanked Up Podcast. I'm a man too extreme for just one show, folks. But check me out, KOE Nation, YouTube, Twitch, and also the GoFundMe, folks. If you even have a moment to look at it. God bless you, and I yield back to you, beautiful people.
Thank you for that. Oh my, so I wish you were here to just announce me as I enter rooms. Like that would be great. Such a confidence boost.
Make pro. Yeah, I could totally do that.
Thanks so much. I gotta get you a voice message, like the voice message machine, right? That would be great if you were the message that people heard. That would be fantastic.
One and all, you have reached the voicemail of Prime K. If you've got a message for Prime, make it Prime time. Do that thing you need to do at the beat. Yeah, it would be great.
Oh wow, this is amazing. Everyone, please, once again, Phil, and I'll just keep dropping this into chat, but Phil wants you to hit up a GoFundMe. So let's all do that. Let's be so kind as to help him out. I'll drop it once again here. So if you enjoyed that, if you thought you want to repay him for being amazing, well then again, hit that GoFundMe. It's a worthwhile cause. Help him out. All right, next we will go to Shadows. Shadows, thanks for stopping by. Shadows, I do apologize for introducing you after KOE. That's awfully cruel for me. Shadows.
Yeah, like how the fuck am I supposed to follow up on that intro, man?
Do your best.
Oh man.
Not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, it's quite to follow up on. Unfortunately, I do not have my awfully adorable cat to help me out. He seemed to yeet himself out of the room, but without Red here, I will let you know I am Shadows of Liberty. I, of course, stream over at twitch.tv/Shadows of Liberty. It's good to be here after being replaced by Soy Boy Bastier for 2 weeks. But no, I'm back. The greatest token neoliberal of the Prime Kai's Reverie Roundtable is back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And I'm back with more flags than usual. If you've noticed, got different flags. Some flags gone, some flags back, some flags new. Got a little bit of everything in my background. So yeah, I'm sure most of you are glad that you don't have to listen to Soy Boy Bastier and his oil lawyer talking points. And now you get to listen to a more refreshing, down-to-earth liberal like me. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Absolutely.
It has been thrown.
Obviously joking, by the way. I love Bastiat, great guy, but yeah. Good to
Okay.
be back, Prime.
Yeah. No, but you can shit on Bastiat. That was cool. No, this is no big deal. This is perfectly fine here. No, we love Bastiat. But yeah, thanks for being here. Okay, let's jump into it. Topic 1. Donald Trump was impeached for a second time by the U.S. Congress, and he was acquitted for a second time. There was a fierce debate among those on the left as to whether impeachment was worth it. What do you think? Was this simply a useless exercise by Democrats that has no long-term value, or did the fight at least have a worthwhile symbolic meaning to tell future presidents that their actions are not above the law and will be challenged? So we'll start with Alice. 1 minute introduction. Go ahead.
Sure. So, I mean, this would have been more interesting, like maybe 6 months ago or something like that. Something that actually would have been relevant. But Trump got off with literally nothing. He was impeached, and there's not really any punishment. In my opinion, it really didn't do anything. It just showed like that you can do whatever the hell you want as a president and get away with it, and your party's going to protect you. The only thing I really see happening is that Trump's going to run for another term and he's probably going to win. I don't see really anything else. We didn't succeed in an impeachment. We didn't stop him from running again. He's just going to be more popular now. He's going to have entrenched his base. And we've proven that the Democrats can't do anything, and the Republicans are just going to, follow the Republican, ethos. So I just don't see that it did anything. I wish that I could say otherwise. I wish that it was, actually effective, but in my opinion, it didn't do anything, and it's just going to have further entrenched the Trump supporters and just his base in general. So, no.
Thanks so much. Next, we have Joe Lewis. Joe.
Yeah, there's nothing that's been currently presented to me that these impeachment proceedings on nebulous groundings in the eyes of the public led to anything substantial. Especially considering, I would argue, the political populace right now is very apathetic. More so over, I guess, to make it really, really center, Democrats suck. They shouldn't have done this. Bitch made, soft, Pampers. That's all I got. It's really fucking stupid that we wasted all this time on this bullshit.
Connor, points.
Yeah, so hold on, let me exit out of a program. I think I know what's fucking it up. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're snapping a little bit, but it's good.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I hope Alice is completely wrong. And basically what I would say is that this was a pretty strong shot across the bow that was necessary. Basically to tell Trump, like, hey, we will impeach you. We will go after you. We will try to fuck you up. And on top of that, while I think you're right that his base has been further solidified, I would say that his base is probably only 25% of the voting public. In that there's actually like there's actually a really huge question on the right about the future of the Republican Party. Is it going to be kind of like the more milquetoast country club Republicanism of Marco Rubio or some of the more or Mitt Romney or some of the more centrist figures, or is it going to be MAGA? Is it going to be MAGA going forward? And there's a real identity crisis and schism on the right that I'm hoping centrist and moderate figures can capitalize on, because basically at this point, right now it seems like a choice between the extremes. And with that, I'll yield for now, but I don't think it was entirely pointless, and I hope the right has heard the message.
LSP.
Okay, I don't want to bully Alice and Joe, but they're saying some fucking stupid things. Like, Democrats suck because they impeached Trump and he wasn't convicted. No fucking shit. We live in a democracy, right? Democrats aren't fucking tyrants. They can't just go out and yank the boy out of the White House and put him on like a wall for a firing squad, right? The only choice Democrats have as a political maneuver against Trump is impeachment. That is their only political weapon. Unless you want to live in a country where one party can just exact some kind of like extrajudicial revenge, those are your options. What else are Democrats supposed to do but impeach? What other options do they have? They control barely half of Congress, and obviously wasn't going to convict. You impeach anyway. You impeach because 5 people died, and the president tried to incite a coup. That's why you impeach. That's the best you can do, and that's what they did. Was it necessary? Yeah, absolutely necessary. 5 people died. The president tried to incite a coup. Actions should have consequences, and this will go down in the history as an attempted coup. So yeah, there's my point. Also, I got an American flag so I can fit in with you guys.
Next, we will go to Doobie.
So I think that I agree with it in spirit, right? I think he should be punished for what he did. But I think that tactically it's a really bad fucking idea. Because the base is solidified now, because now the Republicans can point to the Democrats and say, hey, even after he got out of office, he was so damaging to them, they try to make sure he couldn't run for president again. Right? There's so much damage to the Democrats and the establishment, that they tried to just take him out of the running entirely. Think about it is like 70% of Republicans still think the election was rigged. He's still extremely popular among Republicans. So I don't think it's fair to say that his base is like 25% of the voting populace. A lot of Republicans love this guy. That's just reality. Biden got a record turnout for the election, but so did Trump. Trump's election numbers, if I remember correctly, were higher than Obama's, right? His voting numbers, right? So he's extremely popular. So I think that giving him anything that could further solidify his base was a really bad move tactically. It just didn't seem like there was a strong case for impeachment the second time around. So again, I agree with it in the spirit. I wish he could be behind bars, but it just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Okay. Let's go to KOE.
Sir, this really didn't accomplish anything. It accomplished less than nothing. And as I've said on this panel many times, tick-tock goes the clock, Democrats. You have 22 months now until you lose the House of Representatives for sure, and maybe the Senate. You hold it by the slimmest of margins. And so everything you do has an opportunity cost, and trying to impeach Trump again ate up quite a bit of time. And to be frank, like a lot of people have said here, Trump has a very good chance. He doesn't have just a good chance, he has a really good chance of getting reelected in 2024, because every day Trump is out of office, he's going to look a lot better in comparison, because in everything, in this or in, take your pick on the issue, on the major issues, Biden has two choices. He can either continue to do what Trump was already basically doing, or he can fail. And so those are his two choices. And every day that Trump is out of office, he is going to look tremendously better. And to say it's 25% of, I'm sorry, that's just not accurate at all. And in the regards of, will this person win? Could this person win? Could that person become the nominee? If Donald Trump has one breath of life in his body, there is 0% chance of any human being on God's green earth taking the Republican nomination without his endorsement. Zero. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. If you think that some other guy is going to just waltz in and take the nomination, I'm sorry, but that's not reality. That's not reality. So I yield back.
Shadows Liberty.
Okay, so my whole thing about this and the idea that, the second impeachment accomplished nothing, I think is actually absolute bullshit. During the first impeachment, Mitt Romney made history in becoming the first senator of the president's party to vote in favor of an impeachment. He voted yay on one of them and then nay on the other. I don't remember the names, but the second time around, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but seven different Republican senators actually voted in favor of convicting this guy. Now, obviously, he was not convicted, and he is able to hold federal office still because they did not get the 67 votes necessary. But I think that is hugely historic that we went from one senator voting yes to 7. So I think that's definitely significant. And I think it shows that there is a part of the Republican base that is not against Trump. People like Marco Rubio voted to convict him, but the Mitt Romney types, the John McCain types, these people, who would say yes, what he did was wrong, because what he caused is his supporters to insurrect the Capitol. First time it's been invaded in over 200 years. This is going to go down in history as a coup, as LSP said. So I think there's definitely significance in the vote. I unfortunately don't think it's going to help out the Democrats at all. And I do agree that his base is solidified, but for the most part, I don't think it's really going to do much unless the RNC decides, okay, we're not going to let this fucker get involved in 2024 and prevent him from running on their platform, which they can do as a private organization. But yeah, I don't think it's really going to help out the Democrats. So.
Okay. And we just in time, like literally just in time. We have Layman. Layman, hey, how are you? Thanks for being here.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? KOE, loving the haircut, buddy. Just looking suave, looking fresh, looking clean, Mr. Clean.
In pro wrestling,
Are you doing intros or?
Yeah, like we just did the last intro, so it's up to you. So we're on the first topic on whether the impeachment process was worth it for Trump. Do you want to just give your introduction? Do you want me to read the topic
I'll
for you
introduce
again?
who I am. Yeah, sure. I am. My name is Layman. I talk about politics and religion and philosophy and all kinds of stuff. And my political views don't fit into a box, so you can decide whether or not the things I say are something to your liking. And yeah, I do stuff like this for fun. So yeah. And
your introduction for the
the topic.
Yeah.
The topic. God damn it. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Kind of haphazardly popping in here. So I haven't actually, just because I was kind of asked to come in here last minute, I haven't had time to look at this yet. I was like in favor of an impeachment. I think that would have been a good thing. I think that he has displayed enough incompetence to not be granted the right to run again. And that's all I really have to say. I didn't get a chance to look at the article that you linked, though, so I'm not familiar with how the outcomes of that have turned out. So I guess I'll just see how the conversation goes, and I'll comment when necessary to comment, I guess.
Thanks so much. All right, open to the floor.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
Phil,
No, go ahead.
when you say TikTok, this was a real big time thing.
Wash me in your judgment.
Phil, I love you, but goddamn, son, a month is not a long time. Especially in our politics, where we have such amazingly short-term attention spans. A month's not a long time. This went from January 6th, when the riot happens, and concluded on February 14th, when he was acquitted. What time are we burning with this impeachment process? What time did we lose?
From January 20 on, this new Congress, any day you only got 24 months to enact what you want until
I think we can spare 2 weeks on an impeachment in 24 months.
Donuts, you are losing the House of Representatives in 2022.
Okay, so would you have suggested we do nothing, Phil? Would you have suggested we do nothing? Because it would have been Congress, TikTok for Congress.
You actually, like it was actually said here, you actually hardened Trump's base, and you actually made.
That's not what I'm asking you. Should we have done nothing? Okay, is there any impeachment? Should we ever impeach? Okay, should we ever impeach anybody?
You actually burned out time. You actually burned up time. That
Phil, should we ever impeach anybody then? Because the same logic's going to apply to every impeachment.
But it's going to when the Dems lose the House. Turnabout fair play.
LSP,
the clear answer is yes, right? They should have done anything. They should have clutched their pearls, given really sad speeches about the Capitol being invaded, and then fucked off and got to work. That's what they should have done.
Okay, can I
don't think
address
anybody
something?
did. If this ain't high crimes and misdemeanors, what is?
The fucking stimulus package that was going to go out that held up the goddamn.
You mean the ones that Republicans not a single Republican voted for? I'm sure Democrats can walk and chew gum. This process was not hampered by the impeachment process. It was hampered by Republicans who refused to vote for anything.
Right, but you would agree though that even if without the impeachment proceedings, the reconciliation, like if we accept that the reconciliation was inevitable, you can't deny that it could have happened sooner without the impeachment proceedings, no?
No, I would deny that. I don't think the impeachment proceedings took such a time out of them that they would the negotiations for reconciliation were lowered. Like, when do you think it would have gotten out? They were still in the negotiating process.
On the
like how if we didn't impeach, how long?
What do you think was gained from the impeachment? Like, so knowing that it failed, do you still think it was a good idea?
Okay, can I interject because you guys?
For the same reason, I think it's a good idea to bring indictments on police officers responsible for bad shooting, even if you know you're not going to get a conviction.
LSP, I appreciate you coming out hot, but I do want to help you out a little bit. Okay, so basically, I don't.
What makes you think I want your help, Connor?
Hold on,
because your take is really dog shit.
I'm going to give it to you anyway.
I was
I'm
gonna.
gonna
I
give
was
it to you
just
anyway.
kidding. I love you. I love you.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna tickle your balls anyways.
Tickle my
So,
balls.
all right. So basically, I had
Ruffle those,
2 or
Jimmy.
3 people in intros reject the fact that 25% of the voting public supported Trump. However, this is accurate. Okay, so 54% of Republicans said that they would vote for Trump in a 2024 election. So if you're taking 50% of Republicans and then you add up Democrats, then you have 1/4 of the voting public. Now that's basically what happened last time, right? And what happened last time in the 2016 election was that all of the centrists and moderates stayed in the race until the very end, basically splitting the vote and allowing a Trump presidency. I'm not saying that that's not possible again, but at the same time, if Trump does clinch the nomination in 2024, I think you're going to see a lot of disaffected Republicans who are as upset about the Capitol Hill insurrection as I am, basically saying, fuck it. I got to make the best of a bad situation. I have to go with Democrats, even though it goes against my principles.
Do you think there's enough political will to do something like that? Because it seems like Republicans wouldn't, like, even in the face of a Hillary versus Trump, they weren't able to do that. So
You have to understand how uniquely shitty Hillary Clinton is in the Republican canon. Like, I would love to like walk you through like the anime lore of Republican perspectives about the Clinton family. But basically what you're talking about as far as popularity is unironically believing that she sacrifices children to maintain her youth, and basically sacrificing American service members to the devil. That's pretty much like the lore for Republican perceptions of the Clinton family.
Sure,
That's fair. You're getting close. I mean,
but I guess
you're
like
still getting in a pretty good light there, Counter. So
what's a candidate? What's a candidate that you would support as a Democrat, right? Like, what would that be?
You would have to give me some names.
Here's I'll be honest. I actually said this at a party during the 2000 when the last primaries for the Democrats were going on. And I said, okay, honest to God, if I was like, okay, I'm locking you in a building and you cannot get out of this building until you hit one of these names for the Democrat. Like, so it was some silly hypothetical, but you have to pick one of the Democrats. There's no way out. And so
I think
honestly,
I can answer for you, Connor.
the 2 that I picked, and one's going to be pretty self-evident. The other one's going to kind of shock you. One was Tulsi Gabbard, because she's actually pretty close common sense. And the other one was Andrew Yang, because he's the one guy that actually had any plan that looked more than 5 minutes in front of his face. He's looking decades into the future. It's like, well, at least we got one guy that's got a little bit of forward thinking. And that was really, so if you had made me, those would be the 2 I would go for. So there you go, Democrats. Do with that what you will.
So I was also going to say,
this narrative is so fundamentally detached from it. I mean, the Republicans have consistently been the the party of no ideas, and Democrats have the Green New Deal. They've been running on $15 an hour minimum wage. They've been running on universal health care.
Kill you, Democrats. This will be
it will. Yeah, it will. But the point is that Democrats keep coming forward with new ideas.
Okay,
who's trying to help me?
What's a Republican that you would?
Why people vote though necessarily?
Yeah, what's a Republican that you think that they would? Oh, sorry, excuse me. Who's a Democrat that you think Republicans would support if not Tulsi Gabbard or Andrew Yang? Then LSP.
Oh no, I'm not saying they wouldn't support either of them.
So I was saying that, then. All right, bet. So you don't really give a fuck. So Connor, who is the candidate that you would support?
Okay, what a dumb shit. Gotcha. Okay, Joe, you're gonna be an idiot here.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna. Look, man. We're gonna have fun tonight. Okay.
You're not gonna have like an IQ above room temperature, buddy.
Don't worry, I'm still higher, son.
You're swinging so hard.
LSP, all these flavors, and you choose to be salty. Come on, there's
I'm bittersweet, I do. Bittersweet.
Sweet. So LSP. Let's raise the floor.
The idiot point that Joe made was completely detached from the point I was making.
Who would be a candidate on the Democrat side that you think Republicans would vote for?
Well, Tulsi hates trans people, so I wouldn't
answer the fucking question. Just answer the question.
I just answered the fucking question. I just answered the fucking question. Tulsi Gabbard.
You think Tulsi?
Okay. Yeah, over other Democrats, sure, or maybe even Joe Manchin, just because he's a fucking moderate.
So you agree with Kaylee then?
Can I make a point?
What do you think I was? Hang on, no, stop. We have to stop it because Joe Lewis is being stupid here, and we got to do this. Joe,
I'm just muting you. I'm just going to mute you while you talk.
Joe. Then what are you even here for if you're not here to talk? Fuck off then.
Okay, all right. So let's go to Alice, who hasn't got a chance to speak at all. Then we'll go to Connor.
I'm just really confused. You guys have gone in 20 directions. So this is the best panel. I so want to be back here again. So Connor, I think I have a little bit of confusion. The American public has the IQ of like, I don't know, like a pickle or something. We forget about things 2 days after they happen. So why do you think it's going to be any different with Trump? I think the American public is going to forget about the insurrection attempt. They're going to entirely forget about it. They're going to reduce it in their minds. They're going to say, no, it was the liberal media. It's the liberal media. They blew it up. And now if I'm gonna vote for Trump, he's got my back. He's gonna bring back the oil jobs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That,
I want to address this directly because at the very least we agree that the average IQ of the American voter is that of a pickle. So we
it's
have
room
that in
temperature.
common at least. Yeah. So all right, but moving on from that, you have to understand that I believe it was a poll.
Having
of
contempt
Trump.
for your fellow
Hold on.
Americans is a great way to win elections.
Yeah. But KOE, I'm luckily for everybody, I'm not a politician. But
do not let me in politics.
But at the same time, basically, if you look at the people that Trump's like second choice were, guess who it was? It was fucking Bernie Sanders. So most elections are Democrats' elections to lose. And the way that they lose it is not through economic populism, because economic populism is actually becoming more accepted in the right. It's not through redistributive economics. Redistributive economics are becoming more accepted on the right. What is destroying Democrats, though, is dumb fuck
like culture
Twitter.
stuff. Yeah,
Let him finish. I'm almost done, buddy.
Finish.
Dumb fuck Twitter accounts tweeting about the Mayo side unironically, being screenshotted by Steven Crowder and then being sent out to an audience of millions. It's also Tim Pool doing something very similar. So basically, it's not, for me, it's not, who's going to beat Trump. The question is, how hard do Democrats have to fuck up in order to lose? And why do they seem so skilled at fucking up that hard?
I want to build on to that.
Sure.
They're bad at presentation would be the answer. I mean, that would be the
I
answer
have
for
a
me.
better answer.
Go ahead.
I love you, Connor, but I think I have a better answer. So I think that a lot of it does it is sort of like an optics and cultural thing, but I think it more so pertains to not so much these sort of like internet figures, but I think if the Democratic Party wasn't anti-gun, they would win over so many more right-wingers if they weren't pro-choice. Because the Republicans, they say that they're pro-life, right? But they don't actually do anything about abortion. If you had a Democrat run off of like some really, really good redistributive welfare state policy, but they're like, we're not going to touch guns. We're not going to, and they just have somebody virtue signal that they believe life begins at conception. They would win elections in a fucking landslide if they just appealed to the right a little more. They didn't give them the sense that the system is becoming more unstable and is changing too much to their values and their, so I think that would be a very, very good prescription for the Democratic Party.
So, Limits, you're saying just the Second Amendment or the first and the second? Then?
First,
Democrats,
We're not
Democrats
gonna just have a demo. So like the policies that I think matter the most in the US is like climate change policy and healthcare. That's what I've noticed myself. I'm not saying that the other shit doesn't matter, but I'm saying that if for a couple terms the Democratic Party just doesn't do anything about guns, so they can actually get good fucking policy in there to reform the healthcare system because it's dog shit. And then maybe once the system is less unstable in the US, and then they can go the next president to maybe if people are more comfortable voting Democrat, maybe they can do something about the gun issue. I know, Connor, that is a little
and
I'm just saying that this is optic thing, being descriptive and not normative here, but I'm just saying that would help the Democratic Party a lot if they wanted to win over a bigger voter base and not have people turn to right-wing populism later on down the road.
Do you want to get me to vote for a Republican again? You fucking pass an assault weapons ban. That's how fast I'll vote for a Republican is if a Democrat legislature or a Democrat presidency seriously goes after an assault weapons ban. I will fucking flip Republicans goddamn fast. It'll make your head spin.
The assault weapon, you're saying like you would vote Republican if a Democrat was like, I'm going to ban assault weapons.
If they actually stood a real chance of passing it and they were serious about doing it, yeah, absolutely. I think Dianne Feinstein introduced it, and it's
It doesn't matter. And before anybody goes off, it doesn't matter if you think that's a correct position or not. What matters is how you actually get good shit done.
take. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about most conservatives is they're very culture-oriented first and policy-oriented second.
Everybody is like that.
It's because they're so privileged.
Wait, hold on. Didn't Biden promise to put Beto O'Rourke in charge of gun control? Like,
yeah, what a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
This next year we're gonna get a Republican Connor.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was there a question on the end of that?
No, I'm just asking if this time next year we'll get a Republican Connor.
That would be based.
Maybe if Beto O'Rourke fucking is in charge of fucking gun legislation, goddamn, yeah, I will stab you bastards in the back so fucking fast.
Oh, you robot it so hard there. I don't know what just happened.
What he was saying was he was going to stab you, so that's good.
That's probably a good thing.
Something here. I even said this over at the Dog and Chicken show over at Big Bucket Empire. Check them out. I'm never above some shameless plugs. But I even said that if the Democrats were to just sincerely, in a way that people actually believed, because I'm sorry, with this new bill that's been released, people aren't going to believe that for a very long time. But if they could actually, in a way that people believe that they've just kind of dropped the gun issue for a good 15 to 20 years, they'd be much more competitive in a lot more states than they are now. And that's just something to keep in mind, as there is a big urban-rural divide, and on the rural side, they view, if you're coming for my guns, fuck you. You're just telling me you don't give a damn about me, my way of life, how I feed my family if I decide to hunt. You just don't give a damn about me. That's all you're communicating to me, and so that's why you're going to get such pushback.
And
oh, sorry. Go on.
Please tell me how that's just so terrible and awful and invalid.
No.
It's very terrible.
I was waiting for LSP to say that's the most terrible thing. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness.
The worst. Absolute worst.
I want to hear you say that. Go ahead, LSP.
I actually wasn't going to say that. That's why I was going to let you go, Alice.
Okay.
Go speak up. You're good.
All I wanted to say is, so I do wonder the same thing, though. Why are we not seeing Democrats appeal to the base that they can't fucking touch? Like, that's
stupid.
They are stupid.
They don't like winning.
No, that's what I don't understand.
They're fucking idiots. They don't understand.
Just give up on the gun thing.
They're bad at being centrists.
Just give up on the gun thing.
Now I want to
tried yet.
Yeah, now I wanted to make my interjection, because I feel like we've all gotten off the mark on the topic has morphed into what is the most politically effective thing for Democrats to win election, and not whether or not we should be talking about impeaching Trump for any crimes he may or may not have committed, including the inciting the Capitol 6.
But this is better because it allows us to prepare for the worst possible scenario in the future, right?
So
this is very important.
No, I agree. It's important.
It's hilarious. Democrats hang on. Trying to stop a man from running for office.
What I'm saying.
You don't want him to run for office.
What I'm trying to say is, I don't want to have. I'm sorry. The conversation is centered on what is descriptively best action for the Democrats to take, and not normatively what is the right position for Democrats to take. That's how this started vis-a-vis the impeachment trial. And even if impeaching is politically unpopular, politically ineffective, I would still argue that there's a normative case to be made that the president incited a riot, he attempted a coup on the government, and you should hold him to account, even if you know it would be ineffective.
I agree.
And Phil was dancing for that entire time.
We all agree with that.
A question I have, which I guess is kind of important, right, is that
wait, didn't you have me muted?
Most media sources and other types of sources are implying that was an insurrection, and now you're saying it's a coup. Why do you think that's a coup versus everyone seems to be going towards the insurrection route?
Because
on the left.
I think his entire goal with sending his supporters to Congress was to overturn the election results, which I think would constitute as a self-coup, an auto coup.
Okay, but coups usually involve government support, or at least military support, right? Are you saying that the military had that, Trump had that level of support, that the military would side with him on something?
I don't know that coups usually include military support. I would just say that Trump being
military support. but,
They require definitionally. Like I've
Let's just check it. Let's just check the definition because semantic arguments are the most boring ones.
Yeah, this feels like entirely semantic. Sudden violence and illegal seizure of power from the government, or a notable or successful stroke or move is the immediate definition.
Okay,
Someone
cool.
points out in chat, failed
yeah.
coup is just an insurrection. That's accurate. So
yeah, I mean,
right,
coup,
but again, I'm just wondering.
whatever the word is.
It's cool. I'm just wondering on that. Like, we don't have to get too deep down that rabbit hole, but
yeah, I would just call it a coup because I think his entire aim was to overturn the election results and stay in power. So I would call that a coup.
And you don't have too much proof of that outside of rhetoric, but that's cool.
Oh,
wait,
no,
what do you think?
the whole impeachment process.
So
wait,
what
do you
this? You don't have the ability to read other people's minds. Just it'd be
what do
good
you
if you pretend to.
Yeah. Really? What do you think he was trying to do when he sent his supporters down there?
Well, when he said
Go march
let's all
down
be
and don't
peaceful,
stop.
I took him at his word when he said
He
let's all
didn't
be
say
peaceful.
let's all be peaceful.
Can I address this because I think it's important for right wingers to kind of clean our own house. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, KOE, here's my thing. So I understand that he used the word peaceful, okay? But Trump for months leading up to the incident and even on that day told his supporters and told the American people that the election was fraudulent, that it was turned over, that democracy had failed, that he was wrongfully deposed, that a cabal of political elites destroyed him and by virtue usurped the will of the American people.
Mm.
Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah, we're with you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if I'm a God-fearing, red-blooded, gun-owning American,
he's become a robot again.
If I'm a God-fearing
So
robot,
basically, what he's going to say is
what am
that
I
there's
supposed
no
to do?
other recourse but violence.
No. Let him speak for himself.
But he became a robot.
Okay.
He doesn't think he lost cleanly. So
Let him speak for
Can you
himself.
guys hear me okay now or no?
Yeah, try it. Now you're good. Try it again.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
Okay, so basically, what am I supposed to do as that kind of American who's a patriot who loves my country and owns guns? What am I supposed to do?
Well, you're supposed to rush Congress.
He's asking.
he said.
I mean, those are your
He
only
said,
options,
Jordan.
right?
I
Let
didn't know.
KOE answer.
I thought
Let
he
KOE
was
answer.
breaking up there. I didn't know. I thought there was more to it. But well, okay. Here's the thing, folks. Trump didn't think he lost cleanly. Saying he didn't think he lost cleanly does not imply some sort of coup or insurrection. When he said, let's be peaceful, I take him at his word for it. So
That's
we can
not
think
what
it's
Connor was
terrible,
getting.
we can think it's awful, but he didn't think he lost cleanly. He has that right to think it. I don't think he was right. I think in the end, there was some chicanery perhaps, but probably not enough to really do anything.
KOE, but you didn't
right
answer. Yeah, but KOE, you didn't answer. Like, if you think if the president says the election was stolen and all this, what recourse do you have if the courts have failed you, the vice president's failed you, all through the process it's failed you? What recourse do you have in a democratic process?
And we're on the verge
with his
of
words,
a
what he really
communist.
meant to say. And whenever your analysis is dependent on mind reading, it's very easy to just chuck it out because
No,
you have no ability to read
this is
minds.
based on mind
You don't.
reading.
You just
It's
go.
not-
We'd like to
no,
think we do. A lot of
let me-
people like to pretend they do, but we don't have that ability.
It's not based on
KOE,
mind
but that's
reading,
because I
though.
don't believe what certain people believe. But my point is, if I thought that I just lost my country in a communist insurrection, what am I supposed to do?
Wait, so are you saying that that you think that Trump sent his supporters to the Capitol with the intention of having them overturn the election? Like they were going to sending 10,000 people to the Capitol, knocking shit over, maybe killing a few senators. That would have been enough to overturn the election. You think that's what Trump genuinely thought what would happen?
Oh, okay.
Because I know,
I think Trump doesn't think that far ahead.
I don't think
I'll own that. Yeah.
So if that had happened, do you think, please, if that had happened, do you think there's any chance that Trump thought that if that's genuinely what he wanted, right? Do you think there's any chance that he thought that would be enough to overturn the election? Just a bunch of his supporters. Do you think he thought that the rest of the country was like, oh shit, well, hey, they raided the Capitol, so that's enough.
The reason, and I do, and the basis for this reason is that Trump was. And the basis for this reason was that Trump was reportedly very giddy and excited about the riots when they first happened. He didn't understand why everyone else was upset.
That would overturn the election.
According to reliable anonymous sources, people.
But no, but I'm saying,
One second.
even
Finish your point, Doobie.
So even if he was giddy about it, even if he was happy that they were knocking shit over at the Capitol, even if he was happy that the possibility that they might kill somebody, that doesn't mean that he's so fucking stupid that he would think that his supporters killing a few senators and maybe burning the fucking ballots if they got them, right, would overturn the election.
Okay, dude, then why do you think he sent them there?
To think.
Right? What do you think was his goal for sending them there?
I know there's this meme that Trump's like an idiot, right? But he's not that dumb. I don't think you think he's that dumb. That's like brain dead levels of dumb.
Okay,
right,
okay.
Doobie, what was his goal though? Why would he send them there then?
Protest in DC.
What did he want them to do?
The most uncharitable version of this I think you can take, right, is that he wanted them to get in, he wanted to break into the Capitol, cause some shit, maybe set the fucking place on fire to punish the Democrats, right, to punish the Republicans and Democrats.
I believe that.
That's as far as I think.
At the very least.
But even if that happened, that would not have overturned the fucking election.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna sorry, I gotta let Shadows in because Shadow has been waiting. So I want to allow him to jump in. And then I'll go back to you, Joe. But just before I let Shadows in, DB, Trump is the person who said clean coal is when you take coal out of the ground and you clean it. He said that. He said that like a stealth bomber is actually invisible. He thought it was an invisible plane. So like this is the person you're gonna back his intelligence. You're gonna co-sign that.
Hold on. You guys just I'm not saying you guys, like you guys too, right? But Democrats just generally over the last.
What do you mean, you people, when you're talking to Prime?
5-6 years.
Yeah.
Have jumped from Trump is like a buffoon.
White knight for black
Trump
people.
Is
Shut the fuck up, LSP.
Oh my God,
Jesus.
Jump from like Trump is a buffoon to Trump is like a secret 4D chess dark lord to Trump is like you got to pick one at some point. Right? I don't think he's that. I don't think anybody is that fucking stupid. Right?
You can play 4D chess in a buffoonish way.
I've dumbass people on these panels, and I don't think any of those people were dumb enough to think that if the Capitol burned down that day, that it would have overturned the election.
I don't think it would have overturned the election, but that isn't to say what Trump doesn't think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trump sent them there because I think he actually believed that having his crowd could scare Congress into overturning the election. There's no other interpretation. Well, then tell me what other. Then tell me what other reason. Then tell me what other reason. Let me have it. Then let me have it. Then what other reason?
Okay. Shadows. Then Joe.
Fuck Shadows. I'm sorry. I love you, dude. I'm sorry. I love you.
You're good, bro. You're good, buddy. I want to make a point in response to Dewey and the idea is to overturn the election. No, literally the point of breaking into the Capitol is stop the confirming of the election. Okay, that's why they were breaking in on that day, and that's literally why Trump told his supporters to march down to Washington. Because guess what? January 6th is a day that the senators and that the House confirmed the vote. Okay, it's usually a.
May I respond to that?
No, you gotta wait. So, and this is really important because this is literally the reason why people were defining this as terrorism, because that's what it was. They were committing a violent felony, which is breaking and entering into, federal grounds to stop the confirming of the president. That is a political goal. Terrorism is when you commit violence to meet a political goal. So,
Did you read that definition, or was that right off the dome?
May I?
It's off the dome.
Respond, and then we can go to Joe.
So two things. Number one, you should really take down those flags. I really doubt any of those countries want to be like associated with you right now because the dumb shit you just said. So what I was responding to, right, when I said that the goal, someone was saying that the goal was to like overturn the election, is because that's what LSP said, right? That's what other people on this panel said. They think that's what Trump's goal was. I don't think that's what his goal was. If you're saying that he wanted to stall the confirming, sure, I agree with you. That's a possibility, right? What I was saying, I think there's zero chance that Trump thought that sending his supporters to raid the Capitol and burn that shit down would have done anything to overturn the election, right? So I agree. It might have been he wanted to stall it for some fucking reason. I think it's more likely he wanted to like have them burn the place down to punish the Republicans and Democrats, right? That's more like way fucking more likely to me than that Trump genuinely thought that having people riot at the fucking Capitol would overturn the election.
But also,
so again, you really should take that shit down.
But Doobie, do you remember like what was happening at the Capitol at that point in time? Do you remember exactly what they're doing?
They were confirming the fucking vote. Yeah.
Yeah. And Trump made the case previously, right, that if Pence just like didn't do it, just like refused, then like Biden can be like sworn in. That was the case he was making.
Yeah.
Even though everyone said otherwise. Like just like constitutionally, that's not how it works, right?
Hey, whoa. But Trump's not so dumb. He's actually really
So
smart.
do we seriously?
Hold on.
Yeah, he's actually playing prime.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Thanks,
Two
Prime.
different
Thank you.
statements. Can I please?
You can respond.
So
Go for it.
what you're saying is, and this is what I think is more likely. Trump wanted these people to rally in front of the Capitol, maybe bash on the doors and scream, "Stop the steal" or some shit, right? To try to pressure Biden. I'm sorry, Pence into voting the other way or whatever the fuck. That seems really likely to me, right? But the moment that they cross the fucking barrier and they're in the Capitol building, right? I don't think that anyone's dumb enough to think that Pence would have done that, right? Would have said, "Oh, well, sorry, yeah, the states voted this way, but I'm Pence. I'm gonna overturn it here." I don't think there's any possibility that Trump that would happen, right? So either like. I feel like we're like jumping between like, oh well, he wanted to pressure Pence to he wanted to burn the fucking place down and murder people.
Well, offer an alternative. Why did he do it then?
I just gave you alternatives. Alternative one, he wanted to pressure the Pence into doing whatever the fuck he thought would hand him the election. Option two, he wanted them to burn the fucking place down to punish the Democrats and Republicans. Option three, he just wanted to have like a rally outside to give the big middle finger to fucking Congress for him losing the election, right? And to show that he has some kind of power, right? I think option one is the most likely. I think the fourth option that you're proposing, that he genuinely thought this would overturn an election, is just fucking stupid as fuck.
So let's
take all those options, dudes. What are the end goals of all those options? What will they produce in his mind?
What they would produce at most is at absolute most is like stalling the confirming the election.
What does he think they'll produce?
Attention.
I think I know.
That's what he's craved since 1972.
So let's go. We got to go to Joe, and then we'll go to Layman. Okay.
Attention.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to put Doobie in the spot of asking him like, well, what do you think Trump would think? We don't know.
Man,
what
fuck
Trump would
Doobie.
think. That's what makes it so
Hey,
difficult to
I
think.
love
I would
anytime.
argue for sure.
Literally,
that, like,
literally anytime.
Option A that Doobie proposed could have easily been some level of intent, right? You want to go in there to give some pressure to Mike Pence in order to like potentially like have him like either delay whatever it was, or even potentially like go against what the confirmation of it was. In reality, like we had this sort of like, however you want to describe it, it just led to the inevitability of the confirmation. I don't understand. It feels like, and I hope it's not this, but it feels like we think that if the most extreme thing happened, that Donald Trump would still be in office. Like again, like I'm curious if the lefties think that, because I don't like he would have. It's just a natural passage of power as far as I'm understanding. So it seems like at the very most that could have happened was a delaying of the confirmation. Unless people seriously think that like if Trump really thought that it was just gonna stick on the wall, like.
Okay.
Like LSP, what do you think happens if so let's say they got into the Capitol building, they burned the place down, murdered a ton of senators, burned the fucking ballots. What do you think happens? Like what happens after that?
What do I think happens? I don't think it's going to overturn the election results at all. But I think Trump thinks it will.
Okay, so
really
it doesn't matter then. Like,
Like
if
matter?
Trump thinks it, and it gets confirmed anyway, and Biden's in there anyway, then what's the fucking point? You know?
Okay.
What's the point of what? I don't understand your question.
That's like delusional. Its own journey.
Let's go to Layman.
Yeah,
then,
it's a little rough.
Let's go to Layman, then Alice.
Yeah, I think that the conversation is just getting a little circular. So I kind of wanted to maybe propose why I think he wanted them to go into the Capitol and then see what you guys think of it. Now, if there's anybody watching who is in the chat that thinks this is armchair psychology bullshit, feel free to call me out on it. I'm totally willing to fess up to whether or not
Wait, I'll just tell you now. Whatever it is, that's what it's gonna fucking be, son. So let's just hear the point.
Okay.
You know?
All right, sorry. So
you don't need chat to confirm it. I can just tell you it's gonna be dumb as fuck. But
okay, tell me that it's okay. Everyone is gonna be dumb as fuck. So I think that the man is a narcissist, and I think that he is very, very obsessed with the idea of self-aggrandizing himself. And I think that part of that grandeur comes from the idea in his head of seeing people protest for him outside of the most powerful office in the fucking country. So I think that something kicks his dopamine up through the idea of having the power to actually lead people to do something like that for him. And he's like, oh shit, look at the people fucking like burning shit down, and it's all for me. That's what I think. That's why I think he wanted that to happen. So what does everyone think?
Does his intentions actually matter here? I don't know why we're so focused on his intentions.
I don't. Yeah,
well,
I'm just.
Yeah, I'm confused about it. Like, so do you think like? And that's why I asked you, because like, I don't think there's any sort of timeline that you could lay out that's going to lead Joe Biden not being president of the United States.
Oh no, I don't think it's good. Yeah, I don't think that's something that he thought would really happen. I think that he just wanted to see people march for the glory of him, just in and of itself.
I think we all agree on that, though.
Could you argue that more Republicans would have voted, right? Because as God, what's his name? Jesus Christ, Shadows laid out. Sorry, dude. As Shadows laid out, like he said, like 7 Republicans. That's a big deal. Even though I think it's kind of bullshit, considering that you need more than 7 to get impeachment, right? So if anything, you could argue. I'm not saying I am, but you could argue that if there was a more extreme situation at the Capitol that could possibly lead to more Republicans who are questionable about Donald Trump, could have maybe gone across the aisle. Because 7 doesn't lead you there, but 20 does. Like getting 20.
Let's go to let's go to Alice.
Be from the right, but.
So I was originally going to address something else, but now I'm a little confused. So that whole protest situation, that was before there were any impeachment proceedings happening. So I'm really confused about why you're bringing that up as a point. No, there was no way Trump was thinking about that, because there were no impeachment proceedings happening. What was happening was the confirmation of the election results. And there was no way to stop that other than having Mike Pence say, essentially, by some powers that Donald Trump essentially made up, by the way, there's no real, scholars agree that there's not really any way that he would have had the power to do it. But that was Trump's request to Mike Pence was, don't confirm the election results, just say no. And he had like a reason for why he thought that was going to be doable. That's what the whole protest situation was about. That's what the whole thing was about, was to pressure Mike Pence to just say no to confirming the election results and hope that would delay it. So I guess I'm really just confused about that. Is no one was thinking about an impeachment that day. Nobody was thinking about that. That was well after. He'd already been impeached once. This was a second impeachment proceeding. And I guess that's kind of what I wanted to bring up here is, regardless of all these facts about the situation, right? Regardless of all the stuff we do know about the situation, the original question is, did the fight have a worthwhile symbolic meaning to future presidents? And my problem is, he was impeached twice. Both impeachments failed to do anything to his presidency. He did not affect anything for him in the future. So I don't see how anyone can really argue that this sent any message, really. It sent the message that you can be impeached twice and still be allowed to run for another term. It's not. It didn't do anything.
Question.
I have a direct question to that.
The most impeachments, the best impeachments.
KOE, can I jump in? So basically, Eric. So sorry, I'm having some flashbacks for Alice. Alice. So basically, if a senator had been killed, do you think Trump would have been convicted?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I definitely think he would have been convicted, because it would have been much harder for them to stand against, one of their fellows, regardless of whether it's across the aisle or not, being killed. I think that would have been much different.
A police officer was killed, and they found the strength to do it. Like, I don't know why
they don't care about police officers. They don't give a shit.
I'd say it remains to be seen. Again, we'd have to like reset the timeline.
Sure. We can't read minds.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I'd say that.
Sorry.
I think at the bare minimum, you'd probably you could say maybe more Republicans who are on the fence would support that. Like who would support impeachment.
Okay, but this, guys, I want to make a point, because I am listening a lot because everybody is so passionate tonight. But basically, my point being that he would have been convicted if a senator had been killed. And basically, we can't. This is kind of like the defund the police thing. I know it's a weird analogy, but just go ahead and follow me. So a few weeks ago, we were talking about whether or not the defund the police had any effect on the way law enforcement officers were approaching their job. And the answer was no, because 99% of police departments haven't been defunded. But that's kind of bullshit, right? Because the culture and the narrative around law enforcement has fundamentally changed. So just because Donald Trump isn't sitting in a jail cell right now doesn't mean that the narrative in the right wing hasn't completely changed. There is a line in the sand on the future of the party. Are we going to be a party of MAGA and kind of pseudo-fascistic, authoritarian, ethno-corporatist douchebags? Or are we going to go back to centrist, party republicanism of the past?
Why? So no, you're not going to change. Why are you going to get?
Okay,
why would they avoid
there's
MAGA?
a schism.
Yeah,
There's a
Connor,
schism, right? Like not everybody is
The
becoming a
Trump
MAGA
side's
person,
bigger.
right?
Sorry, the Trump side and the Republican side's way bigger. No other
You can't win out with
hell without Trump's nomination. Without his endorsement,
MAGA is not big enough to win by itself.
It doesn't matter.
MAGA is not big enough to win by itself.
Okay, wait, I agree with you here a little bit, but I think there's a better way of saying that. I would say that Republicans will probably support a much more lighter populist version of Donald Trump, where a more polished version, a more cleaner version of that individual. Now, what does that cleaner version look like? It's a person who probably really modifies the rhetorical tools that he used in order to galvanize crowds, but really make it sharp enough where you can't really sort of pin him down on things like fascism or like other sort of lefty talking points like white supremacy. Now, who is that? I don't know. It looks like Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz are trying to align themselves in like that. Tom Cotton as well. Again, it kind of remains to be seen because there hasn't really been a Republican to show interest, because it seems like they're kind of waiting to see what Donald Trump is doing. I would argue that the third option would be a later populist version of Trump.
But even if how is that not going to be like the Tea Party, where a bunch of Tea Party Republicans get elected and then they get co-opted by the system? How is that not going to be the same?
Because Trump already has.
Donald Trump, I would say, is like the logical conclusion of the Tea Party. No.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. But the problem is he has Republican support. The problem is that he's too popular. So your claim is like, oh well, but only the people who support him. That's not enough. Yeah, it's 1/4 of the voting population. That's more than enough for the Republicans. They have a guaranteed 1/4 of the voting population that will absolutely vote for Trump. Like no doubt will vote for Trump. 1/4. Okay. So why the hell would they that's going to be their candidate? Why would it be anyone else?
Do you not think that a bunch of Republicans are going to jump ship if Trump is the?
No.
You think 40? You think
Democrats? Yeah.
I think they're too.
I'm going to go jump ship to the socialists.
Yeah,
no, they're not going to do that.
I think it's at their face right now. They're too.
Hold on. I have to analogize this because this is such a strange statement. Okay. Yeah, hold on. Like this is such a weird statement, and I have a parallel that's going to articulate it. So I need to articulate it. Imagine Bernie Sanders is the Democratic nominee. Do you think that every Democrat is just going to fall in line behind Bernie Sanders, or do you think a shitload of them are going to jump ship to the Republican?
That's not going to happen. So remember that Trump has Republican support because
the analogy.
Okay,
Bernie
so wait, hold on. This
Don't tell me no shit I can't believe on acid. Come on now,
This is a false equivalency. This is a false equivalency. It's a false equivalency. It's a false equivalency because Donald Trump and Bernie are very different candidates. So Donald Trump has support in very, very different groups of people. Bernie has support in what groups does he have support in? Basically, he only has support in like the really, really, really poor people that are going to benefit from his social policies that don't care about guns.
They're both populist, right?
Yes. They are both populist. But Trump has the conservative vote, and Bernie's never going to get that conservative vote ever. He's never going to be able to appeal to that. Trump
asking about conservatives though.
Trump has the vote of the people who don't want gay marriage. He's got the vote of the people who don't want trans people existing.
But normal conservatism isn't what's being talked about. We're talking about like this populist, like far right kind of wing that might be growing or might not be growing. That's what Connor's alluding to. Not like
hold on. And here's the thrust of my argument too. The thrust of my argument is that there is a bunch of normie corporate Democrats that are not going to stick around for an economically populist, hyper progressive Bernie Sanders candidacy. They're going to jump ship to a centrist corporate Republican. Absolutely.
Bernie didn't have party support. Bernie got fucked over
That-
because the
That-
party
that's
didn't
why it's
support him.
called. That's why it's called an analogy or a hypothetical.
It's not
So-
helpful because he didn't have party support. Trump does.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and Connor, I
So-
think you're really
He didn't
overstating
have part-
how
I don't think he
large-
had that much party support when he ran either, Dave.
Sure.
He was very like anti-establishment when he ran in a similar sort of way that Bernie was, wasn't he?
Except that
No,
Bernie
but
never.
the thing
I'm
is,
not-
but-
I'm
The
not-
best
so,
support of the
yeah.
voters. The
So-
party couldn't give a shit less about him, but the voters love him.
So here's what we're gonna go to LSP. He had his hand up a long time ago, and then Shadows. I'm not sure if you still want to make a comment, but LSP.
The time I had my hand up, it was kind of because it was relevant at that time. Like we moved on from that.
Okay,
Same
we had an
here.
interesting back and
I'm all
forth.
good.
We had an interesting back and forth. Sometimes that
Okay,
happens.
well, I'll use my time. Just real quick. Okay, I want to address this to Doobie, right? Doobie, your mama was so fat she was baptized to SeaWorld. There,
Okay.
yield my time.
All right, great. But then, all right, fine. Then back to Joe. You want to say something?
White people don't got jokes, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You gotta get
They
better
don't-
white
they're
people to
trying
get
their
better
best.
fucking jokes, bro.
But go ahead.
Trying. I get it, but that's
White
ain't the
people aren't
best.
sending their
This
best.
ain't the fucking best. Like going after Doobie like that, Jesus Christ.
This is
What if
ethnic
something a bit more
erasure, Joe.
personal?
Firstly, I'm not white, but okay.
Okay. All right, son. All right. No, keep your screen up. Keep your screen up. I want to see what you're typing. I just want to make sure it just gets glossed right over, my friend.
No, I gotta play it. So he's brown, but I don't claim him. Okay, just for fire.
All right, bet.
God damn it.
All right, bet. Listen, man. Every hour this panel passed, the more I want people's voting rights to get taken away. With that being said, I think that there is a conversation to be had about the competitiveness of Republicans currently, but unfortunately, and I think this might be Connor's concern, and correct me if I'm wrong, man, is that do you want to see the Republican Party competitive? Let me ask that question first.
Yeah. So basically, I would like to see them competitive. I would like to keep the economic populism of Trump. I would like them to drop maybe the anti-Hispanic bigotry. I would like them to maybe drop the LGBTQ bigotry. But basically, like, I think gun rights are incredibly important. I think promoting social conservatism is incredibly important. I think that constitutionalism is incredibly important. I think there's a lot of things that republicanism as a theory offers. My problem is that the rhetoric of the Republican Party and what they actually achieve policy-wise is completely different. So while they might be talking to me about family values and gun rights and mixed economy capitalism and all that kind of shit, basically all I see them actually do is get elected and then pass tax breaks for rich people while solving no social ills and caring very little about the actual working and middle-class families inside the United States. So yeah, I would love to see an effective Republican Party, but I think they would actually have to be Republicans and they would actually have to care about Americans.
Right. And then, like, on one hand too, is that, like, we can agree that there are different family structures kind of arising in America, right? Like single parenthood is, I think, one of the highest in the entire world when it comes to that share of family structure. And something that I think conservatives are kind of shooting themselves in the foot, right, is this idea that, like, I think they could just get a lot of people onto their side and even increase that gap, or really close the gap, I should say, that was created in the 2020 election if they adopted sort of ideas of not only embracing the nuclear family, but also embracing all family structures, but without having to, like, listen to how you would say, like, just double down on, like, the half-baked policy that lefties are bringing up with the idea of, like, yeah, we should embrace other family structures, but they can actually maybe create some policies that just embrace families total, and you can code it however you want. Another thing that I agree with you as well is, like,
I think it's an important point. Oftentimes, Republican rhetoric around family structure isn't about how to create happier, healthier families. It's to morally indict single mothers and grandparents that are taking care of kids. And I think that that's a completely different, rhetorical strategy or political strategy. Is like, how about instead of talking shit to them, we try to create a society in which that's statistically less likely to happen.
And you do that through.
That would be my problem.
And you do that
you
through
could even
the
make
encouragement of
something.
Oh, sorry.
You could even make a bill, just call it, like, the Family Unification Act, or the Family Values Act, and that would easily be something. Because again, if we agree that the right wing is better with not only the rhetorical arguments on policy, but actually like advertising it to the public, they could easily just trick a bunch of Democrats into voting for them on something like that.
Well, and
Even if it was
actually,
something
like
posturing.
yeah, and actually like caring about families, right? Because like the whole like before the nuclear family, like the conservative thing to do was to advocate the multi-generational family, which did include grandparents and did not morally impugn like single mothers and stuff like that. And there's like a lot of data that you can use to back up that is like an ideal structure for families. And then if you wanted to maybe have some kind of wing, I know that the Republican Party as it exists now fucking hated this, but like the Mitt Romney like universal child policy, like have these little sort of welfare things, but then frame it to them through a conservative lens, through a conservative motivated reasoning, that would win over a lot of them to the Democratic Party. And that goes back to what I was sort of saying before, where like at the start of this conversation when we were talking about how Democrats actually appeal to the right, it's like there's so many very, very just generically agreeable ways of doing that they just don't do because they like to lose, as we've said many times.
Go ahead, chat. Hold on.
KOE, it sounded sorry for interrupting, but KOE, it sounded like you had an objection.
Hold on. I gotta let in Shadows because he hasn't got a chance to talk in a while. Go ahead, Shadows.
Well, I just wanted to tack onto that point that like the whole idea of the multi-generational family and like advertising for that or promoting that is a better idea because that's actually super common again in the Hispanic community. And guess who conservatives need to continue to be competitive? They need the Hispanic vote. So if they are religiously conservative and they advocate family values, but the multi-generational one, which is super common in Hispanic homes, you know, you have the parents who are working and the grandparents stay home and help take care of the kids. You know, that is another way that they will continue to win over the Hispanic vote. And also just on Mitt Romney's child welfare policy, it's basically kind of like a UBI for kids. It's fucking based. If you haven't read up on it, definitely read up on it. It's actually a really great proposal. He's for some reason
I'm sorry, wasn't a component of that included in the relief package? Like they modified that, didn't they? Modify that and like include part of that in the relief thing?
Temporarily.
It's like an expansion of
yeah.
the tax credit. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but he wants
Yeah.
to change like WIC and like all these child support programs to be like monthly payments. And
Yeah, instead of
it's
the tax credit thing or
yeah,
whatever.
it's pretty fucking
good?
based. I recommend everyone in chat to read up on it.
Yeah, there's
especially
actually
if you're
a
fan of UBI.
there's actually a policy that was passed in Canada from our Conservative Party back in 2006 that was similar to that, and then over time just the Liberal Party has kind of expanded on that over time and you know increased the amount of funding that goes towards kids, and it's actually a pretty fucking good policy here.
Pretty nice, eh?
Yeah.
Lose this. I kind of. I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but KOE, I kind of heard you like scoff a little bit when I was talking about like single mothers or families or whatever.
How dare you,
I just found
KOE?
it fascinating that like you've got this very odd like phantom boogeyman of like this like evil Republican with like a monocle and top hat. I can't wait to
You
just
do it so
go after
naturally.
disadvantaged
You
people.
can't do it.
Like, no, that is not what motivates any fucking human being that wakes up in the goddamn world. I'm sorry. Everybody's trying to make a world that's better. If people are advancing policies you disagree with, maybe it's because they have a principle in mind that maybe you don't agree with to be axiomatic. So just making this weird like boogeyman, oh, they hate these people. They like, dude, that doesn't do anything.
Do you want me? Do you want me to pull up some like Ben Shapiro, T. Crowder segments on single?
No. But he's talking.
I don't care about either of them. I'm like, they're big boys. They can defend themselves in their own discussions. I'm telling you that this is not what
they're pretty big.
fucking motivates people to fuck. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I think what KOE is trying to say.
Go ahead, Lyman.
I think what KOE is I'm going to steelman the KOE position. So I think what KOE is trying to say is like the average conservative person in society, just if they support things like market deregulation or what the progressives who are probably predominantly watching probably think, like the pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of thing, their intentions are not to have like a negative outcome come from that. Like they believe themselves that that's the right thing to do. But what we're trying to say to you, KOE, is that the outcomes of that just doesn't work in the US, like optimally you can have conservative values, like appeal to people that don't rely on this like weird like lib-right Americanism kind of thing is what we're getting at. That's all. We're not trying
I'm curious.
Yeah,
When
KOB,
sorry,
Sorry.
you haven't spoken much. Go after you.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't want people to be like married to the state. Like, I hear this rhetoric in the right wing a lot. I don't want people to be married to the state, but at the same time, like, you have to create like in the fact that you would deny that rhetoric is a part of right wing circles is weird to me. Like, I have conversations all the fucking time about how basically what's destroyed the black. Hold on one second. That what's destroyed the black family. Hold on one second. It's not systemic racism or law enforcement or the drug war or anything like that destroyed the black family. It's welfare. It's because guilty whites decided to give black families money, and that's what actually destroyed the black family. And it's their own goddamn fault, and they just need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. The fact that you're saying that this rhetoric isn't prevalent in conservative circles is really weird.
One of the biggest conservative economists in the world, Thomas Sowell, has like perpetuated that idea like ever like since
my
like
God,
the
so many
80s or some
times.
shit. Like he's been at this for a while, and he's an incredibly popular figure. And Candace Owens cites him, and Ben Shapiro cites him, and Crowder cites him, and Fox News cites him. Like
are we denying that this is a thing?
Wait, but
Sorry,
Connor,
go
I
ahead.
think
I'll
that-
put up.
Like, okay, so yeah, well, I'm not going to deny that some people have some rhetoric at some time, but I am denying that this is the motivating factor of people to fucking get up and we want to just try and destroy any disadvantaged group. That is not what motivates Republicans. So when you're saying like this is a major part of Republican ethos, it's like, no, that's not. Like, so I'm curious.
Okay, but
like,
I think. Can I just say really quick, just to help you out, KP, really quickly? I think Connor, you're kind of misrepresenting what KOE said, right? So what he said is that nobody's getting up in the morning saying, "Hey, we just want to hurt these disadvantaged groups," right? And Thomas Sowell, Stephen Crowder, Ben Shapiro, they don't want that, right? That's not what their rhetoric. The rhetoric is, "Hey, being a single mother is bad for you. It's bad for your child. It's bad for the community. So stop being a single mother, right? Don't have don't have children out of wedlock."
Me?
So
stop being poor. Just stop being poor, guys.
That's
We're not defending that position.
I'm sorry.
LSP.
No, let me just finish my point really quickly.
Sorry. Yeah, let him finish.
So framing is that like you can disagree with policy outcomes, right? But framing that as these people just want to hurt, single mothers and shit like that. That's not what they want to do.
Okay.
They want to help.
Okay. Sorry, LSP. I really want to let you go, but I need to address this head on.
Okay.
Like, okay, that's fine.
Stopping this bad behavior and not incentivizing this bad behavior.
Okay, fine. And if you're talking about the next generation, that is fine. But that doesn't do shit for single mothers who have kids now. And I think we can look at the outcomes for kids who are raised in single parent homes, and there's a statistical disadvantage. So you're doing nothing to break that cycle now, besides being, hey, sorry, you got pregnant, but you're a fucking idiot. So good luck with that shit. That's what the rhetoric actually means.
I think anybody who finds themselves in a single parent household should be incentivized in some type of way to make it back into at least like the dating market to be able to find a wife or a husband. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think conservatism misses the mark there, but which is why I think that like on top of giving people like one way that you can help people to uplift themselves off of welfare is to make sure that you don't punish them for being on welfare in the first place. So what that looks like is not create. And again, we're a far cry away from the 60s and 70s on this, where like you want people to get back into the dating sphere, to have like another individual in the household. To be fair, yes, there is still involvement in single family households, right? Or sorry, single parent households, excuse me, where the other member of that sort of nuclear structure still participates in helping in the caring of those children. But I think that has to increase like tenfold.
Okay, LSP.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're talking back past each other. I think Phil's point was that even if the conservatives take a stance that it seems counterintuitive to what you might think would help, like single mothers and stuff like that, even with the the kind of free will meme, like just don't be a single mother sort of thing. I think he would still say this is a principled stance that people have. They just have genuine policy disagreements about it, which I think is probably fair for most people, even people I genuinely hate, like Steven Crowder. I actually think like he probably sincerely believes the horse shit he spouts. What I'm wondering, and I would direct this more to you, Counterpoints, because you touched on this, and this is a good discussion. As we move forward, this Republican Party schism, will it become exacerbated by these sort of populist economics Republicans? Will they like start jumping ship to Democrats because they don't have the baggage of the secret Jewish space laser Republican types?
No, and this is actually the really sincere problem, okay? Because if you look at people who are very moderate about social issues, whether that's LGBTQ or like racial issues or whatever, those are the laissez-faire economists predominantly. Those are the people who want like laissez-faire economics. So they're actually going to get married with corporate Democrats because they're going to be looking to basically like minimize the blow of the progressive and economically progressive wings. What's actually the problem is that if you're a person who's interested in economic redistributivism on the right, I think there's a much higher chance that you are more interested in, I'm going to stereotype, but like Jewish space lasers and, basically like, Mexican immigrants and Muslims coming to this country exclusively to kill the shit out of you and rape your wife and all that.
Your priorities would skew towards the Marjorie Taylor Greens and less to the.
So the economic populists are going to Trump and MTG. And for them to fucking jump to the Democrats, it would basically be like making out with a frog. Like it's. I don't think it's possible for a Trumper to jump to. Maybe they could jump to Bernie, but they cannot. But they could not jump to AOC. They could not jump to Hillary Clinton. Yeah. They could not jump to a whole host of villainous characters on the left wing.
Now, quick, just one moment here, and then I want you all to hear what I'm saying here. Is when you make a boogeyman of the people that you oppose, you destroy any chance to make an ally of them. And I want you to hear very clearly what I'm about to say here. People on the right, on the much farther right than most people on this panel, are going to be driven farther right by the rhetoric we're hearing out of Counterpoints far more than we would do anything that an LSP or anybody else on this panel would possibly do. Because again, Counter, when you're making these hard boogeyman of like they just hate people and they want people to die, like the minute you do that, you've shut down any chance of crossing a bridge at that point. It's like, oh, okay,
well, KOE, let me.
KOE, I don't think I'm some horrible, reprehensible person. Then, all right, then there's really nothing else to do here.
I'm not making. By the way, I'm not making moral judgments, and these are my family, by the way. And I would consider myself center right. There's a lot of like center and conservative things that I actually deeply sympathize with. But so for instance, like if I jump on the far right wing internet sphere right now, I'm just going to see 2016 helicopter memes. Like I'm going to see some pretty strict like anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. If you were to watch the political debates between Blair White and
Lauren,
some of the Christian nationalist members. Lauren, if you were to watch the debates between the Christian nationalists and I would say like the TPUSA right wing or whatever, you would effectively see a schism that doesn't like or value gay people.
You have hardcore roboting, but I think we caught it.
I think we got what you said.
I think we got what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, we got what you were laying down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll move on. We'll do closing statements on this before I move on to our next topic. We'll just go down the line. Say whatever you want about this. We bounced around a lot, but I thought we had an interesting conversation nonetheless. It doesn't matter. I don't care what we're talking about as long as you all find it interesting. Let's go, Alice.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, we basically just circle jerked for like an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes about basically how I did love it. So this has been my favorite panel easily. This was like just basically, yeah, Trump he fucked up. And we're not even disagreeing that like he fucked up. We're basically disagreeing to what extent he fucked up, and to like what extent the consequences of his fuck uppery have affected him and are going to affect the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. We didn't really get anywhere different than the beginning of the panel, where we had a few people being like, "Yeah, this was a good move. Yeah, this is a bad move." So I think this was really productive, but I think we didn't really address the topic. But absolutely perfect. Really, really happy to see that we all basically agree Trump fucked up. Even the people who are right wing here agree that Trump fucked up pretty badly with the way that he approached this. So appreciate that. I'm glad. Looking forward to the next panel.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let's go, Joe Lewis.
Yeah. I agree with Alice when a dumbass question is proposed and then the panel moves away from that dumbass question, that would suggest that the dumbass question was a dumbass question. So I am very glad that we're able to talk about some other things, like the future of conservatism, which is something that very interests me right now, as well as the compatibility or lack thereof of Democrats. So that was pretty cool. I am excited for the next topic as well.
Okay. Next, Connor.
Hey, I love dumbass questions. We're all on Twitch politics, okay? So your guys' very judgmental rhetoric, I take offense to, okay? I exclusively ask dumbass questions. But the basically the point being that Phil, I want to address you directly because I do know these people, these MAGA people, and some of them are fundamentally good people. I could really run you through how they're some of the most like wholesome, kind, generous, nice people that I've met in my entire life. That doesn't mean that their beliefs aren't nefarious. So, for instance, a relative of mine, somebody who basically takes care of disabled people professionally and runs a charity for it and literally takes care of like 50 disabled adults. She does believe that Muslims are going to infiltrate through the open southern border and basically kill us all. She does believe that we're run by a cabal of pedophiles who are just like, touching kids and covering it up. She does believe that basically Donald Trump is our savior and was appointed by God in order to save us from the nefarious Democrats. So while you can say that these people don't exist, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they exist and they have some beliefs that I object to. So I'm worried about the future of the right wing. I would like to see economic populism because I care, or not economic populism. I would like to see some level of economic redistributivism because the thing is, I care about American families. I want American families to do well, but I also care about individual liberty and gun rights, and I care about preserving capitalism. So those things I care about, and that's why I can't jump to the left. And with that, I yield.
LSP.
Normally, Prime, I would be defending your dumbass questions, but you blue-balled me on the MVP of the show and gave it to counterpoints instead. So now I'm going to agree with Joe Lewis. You asked a dumbass question, right? You kind of played yourself there, son. Bet you regret it now. Dumbass question. Okay. On a serious point, I actually wanted to address that question because I'm shocked. Okay, so here's a frustration I have. I talk to a lot of leftists who are very fucking upset that we didn't impeach George W. Bush, that we didn't drag Bush to the Hague. We never gave Henry Kissinger over for war crimes. We didn't do all these things, right? Even though it would be politically ineffective, it would lead to nowhere. All these exact same excuses I'm hearing from the left now about like why you shouldn't impeach Trump. And I'm getting like fucking whiplash at the 180 going on here. You impeach Trump because it's the right thing to do, because he led an insurrection at the Capitol. I feel like the debate got lost on whether or not it's fair to call it an insurrection or a coup. It's immaterial to me. The conversation then morphed to counterpoints question, which is like the identity crisis conservatives have. I would wonder if like how prevalent the secret Jewish space laser wing of the conservative movement is, like how important these things are to them. Like there might be a fair number that believe this, but might like weigh it down on like the scale of things that don't really matter. It could be won over by like economic populist like philosophies coming from the left, perhaps, or policies coming from the left. But I also think he's like simultaneously right. Every time I interact in conservative circles, what I get is like the most vindictive, petty, small, hateful, bigoted bullshit about trans people or minorities that's just really hard to wash over. And I see this and think there's no way it can grow. But then I also look at Donald Trump winning so much more Hispanics than a Republican ever did before, right? That minority votes for Republicans goes up, and I don't understand it. And I'm a little scared that the future of the conservative movement is grabbing people up whose interests they don't even care about. Which would have been a better question, but instead we had to answer this dumbass question for Prime. Over to you, Doobie.
Okay.
Wait. One more thing. I'm sorry. One more thing. Because Joe Lewis revoked my person of color status. Hey, Joe, your mama's so dumb she went to the dentist to get a Bluetooth. Okay, now Doobie.
I lost childhood memories at how stupid that joke was.
Low blow,
Okay.
man, low blow. What the fuck?
Sure, we'll go to DV, but to everyone, of course, all my panelists are free to submit questions, but they almost never do, except for counterpoints. So if you have a brilliant question,
I do.
of course,
You never
I
accept
said
them.
almost. I said almost.
So once again, you're erasing me for counterpoints.
I say Connor.
You look over me and go to
Connor
counterpoints.
does it consistently. He's consistently does it, but like most people never do. So if you want a brilliant question, feel free to submit a brilliant question. I would love to have one. If not, then you'll just have to deal with my dumbass ones. All right, moving on. DV.
I actually don't think this was a dumbass question. I think that this question was really helpful in that it actually kind of demonstrated to me the existence of Trump derangement syndrome, right? And all the people that are on this panel who genuinely believe that Trump thought that the riot at the Capitol, whatever the fuck we want to call it, would overturn the election. I think you do have TDS, and I think you should get that taken care of. Secondly, I think that in this panel, we've kind of overstated the amount of Republicans are quote unquote never Trumpers. Those have always existed, right? Since he began his campaign. It's not very many Republicans. There are new polls. I'll send them to you if you're interested. I read this a couple days ago in the New York Times, but I couldn't remember the exact numbers, so I didn't want to just rattle it off without looking it up. But it's basically, what was it? About basically two out of three, right? Republicans are very warm to the idea of reelecting Trump, right, in 2024. There's two other factions, that's the diehard Trump supporters, the Trump boosters, so-called is what they call them, the InfoWars GOP. And then there's those people are all very warm to reelecting Trump. And then there's the post-Trump Republicans who still support him, still favor him at 97%, but they just think someone else should lead the party or someone else should be elected. Right? I think those people could very easily be won over. The so-called never Trumpers, that last portion, it's 15%. Right, and these people have always fucking hated Trump. A lot of these people did vote for Biden, right? But even with that being the case, Trump got more of a vote than Obama did. Right? I think he's a very powerful force in the Republican Party still, and I don't think we should understate that.
Thanks so much, KOE.
Accomplish anything. It actually did less than nothing. It actually cost the Democrats. It cost you valuable time for your majority in this particular Congress. And worse yet, it makes you look like sore winners who can't even win an election gracefully. You still have to try and adjudicate the election of 2016. And so that's why, in the end, unfortunately, all you did to Trump supporters is make him look all the more of a sympathetic character. And so, yes, in 2024, Alice said at the very beginning of this, not only does Trump have a good chance, he has a really good chance. And I'll just reiterate my opening statement. Every day Trump is out of office, he's going to look a lot better compared to Joe Biden. So just keep that in mind, folks. Yes, continue to vilify your political opposition. It'll work wonders for you in the future.
Nobody would vilify you, Phil.
How could you vilify this lovable fuzzball that is I? I mean, come on. Everybody loves me.
I refuse to.
It's true.
Thank you. Thank you.
The show should just be named after Phil.
I think so. I think I've only been giving you away.
Here. I love this kid.
I feel like I've just been dragging this all down for you. I apologize to my audience. Clearly, Phil should have been the one in charge of this entire time. But okay. Next, we'll go to Layman.
Yeah, sure. I actually love the question, Prime. So fuck everybody. Pieces of shit. Every single one of you. Just kidding. No, I like the question because the question was asking like we all kind of agreed on the answer to the question. And so I think from there, the best thing to do was then to say, well, what now? And I think this entire conversation was that. What if another right-wing populist runs again? What if Donald Trump runs again? What hypothetically is the optimal way to deal with this? what is the future of conservatism in the US? How should conservatism be in the US? I love conversations like that. That was this entire conversation pretty much. And I thought that went really fucking well, like compared to a lot of other conversations about conservatism on fucking like on the lefty Twitch space. This one was really fucking good by comparison. So I thought that it was fucking based. And Prime, you asked a good question, because without that question, we would not have had the conversation that we just had. So yeah, that's what I got to say.
Well, thank you. That's awfully kind of you. All right, you heard that,
You're
Joe?
welcome.
People like me. All right, you heard that, Joe? I'm loved.
Joe.
But we'll continue on with Shadows.
Man, I wish I could be loved. Anyways, so I think this was an okay question. I'm gonna go in the middle, but I think that
Some kind of centrist, huh?
yeah, I'm a filthy centrist right now. I'm stealing in Connor's label. Fuck you, Connor.
Shake my fist at you.
Feeling my
But
label
yeah,
too, bitch.
so I think it was a good question, and I agree with what Layman is saying. We do all agree on it. My dream is that the Republicans will go back to the country club Republicans and be pro like free enterprise and free market and fiscal responsibility, but also have the distributism a little bit. Obviously drop the bigotry because I don't understand it. I think I've said all I need to say on this topic, so I'm just going to go into your chat and let everyone know that SDL dropped another hot meme video today, so go check that out after this.
Okay.
Monk takes aim. Pretty fire.
Okay. So I will move on to our next topic. But before that, I will once again remind my audience that our good friend Phil Kelly is actually raising money for a good cause, helping out a family member with childhood cancer. So please click that link, that GoFundMe link right there. Help out if you have the cash, please. Help a very worthy cause. So I'm just gonna keep reminding you all of that. We got more people who came in afterwards. So in case you don't know, we're raising money for this wonderful cause. Go check it out if you could. Thank you. All right. Of course, absolutely. So we'll go on to another topic. Let's try topic 3. Male gamers held 90.4% of the roster spots and received 88.5% of scholarship funds in a sample of 27 public American schools surveyed by the AP during the school year. The glaring gender disparity exists even though 41% of U.S. gamers are female, according to the Entertainment Software Association. And in a realm where, unlike traditional sports, there are no physical barriers separating male and female competitors. Why are pro esports a male-dominated space? Okay, I'm definitely curious as what you all have to say. Let's go with Alice.
Boy, oh boy. So this one's fun. So there's multiple reasons for this. One of the reasons is socialization. Men are encouraged to do things like play games for a living. Like that's not a thing that women are encouraged to do. However, a little bit of a wrench in the plans here. There is a physical reason. So there's actually studies that show that females actually have lower reaction times on average, and there's not really any explanation for that at all. Other than some sort of like maybe biological essentialist explanation or something like that. But one of the reasons that it's theorized that there are more male professional gamers is because the reaction time is a little bit faster. It's like milliseconds faster, but milliseconds is enough in professional gaming. So that is actually one of the explanations, is that there is a physical difference. So I definitely think it's two things. It's socialization. It's that less women are going to go into gaming. Like being on this panel, I'm trans, and it's still very, very difficult for me to be on a panel like this. Like I have to have a little bit of liquid courage to be able to talk over you guys. But socialization matters a lot. So I definitely think both things are important here. Is the little bit of the reaction time difference and the socialization difference. Those two things stack up together to make why we see this huge discrepancy.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Games were, still are, centered on the interests, needs, and desires of men. That's all I got.
Gotcha. Thanks. Let's go, Connor.
Yeah, so I meme about it sometimes, but and this is largely a meme, but trans inclusionary radical misogyny, go men, yay men are best. But at the same time, like so basically, what I actually want to say on the subject is basically, if the biological essentialist argument is accurate, and Alice is correct that there's a biological reason, we could create different sports or different games that appeal to different skills. So, for instance, I think a lot of competitive gaming focuses on either RTSs or FPSs, either first-person shooters or real-time strategy games. And based off of those, reaction time counts. Whereas if there were cooperative games or something that emphasized like different skills, you could basically create leagues that I think women might be more dominant in. So while that might not be as sexy or as fun to a male brain like mine, that doesn't mean that it can't create its own niche, create its own audience, create its own revenue streams. And maybe that's how we would make the space more inclusive, is not by trying to make women interested in male things or trying to deny a biological essentialist gap, but to create female-centered and female-oriented spaces that actually they're interested in, that create their own perpetual markets and momentum and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that you should be exclusive. I'm just saying that that would be an interesting way to create inclusivity while still acknowledging diversity. And with that, I yield.
Okay. LSP.
Let's just be honest. Women just suck. You ever play with a woman on a competitive game? I can't aim for shit. It's hilarious. They try so hard too. It's adorable. No, I'm just kidding. But I just demonstrated something very real. I demonstrated a culture of misogyny that actually does exist in like video games. It's like an actual thing that happens in esports. They're very male dominated, male oriented, and to some degree, guys just have a bit of. I mean, this almost sounds like so demeaning, but as a byproduct of culture, they have a little bit of toxic behavior that comes out. And some of the games that might attract, the games that attract males might attract the same sort of behavior type out of males, right? These more competitive games, and women by and large might have different personality types that attract them to different kinds of games. And the article referenced these kinds of games specifically. Games like Mario Kart would attract a different kind of personality, would attract a different kind of gamer, all across the gender spectrum than a game like Call of Duty would. We've all played Call of Duty. We know how easily the N-word flies out in those lobbies. It's never a good environment in a Call of Duty lobby. But Mario Kart, dude, chill with friends, great shit. And it could be competitive and gender balanced. There.
Let's go, Dibby.
Yeah, so I think Alice is basically spot on this. I think that there is a biological component. Unfortunately, women do have a slower reaction time on average, and the games that tend to get esports coverage and people want to watch them, the Counter-Strike, League of Legends, these sorts of things, they require very quick reaction time. So if you're dealing with people that are at the top of the game, like milliseconds matter for sure, right? So I think that's one barrier. I think another barrier is definitely cultural. Women just, by and large, are not really like kind of pushed into game. Gaming is still like very like a male space. Just like women are expected to play Barbies, and men and boys sit down and play like Mario Kart with their friends and Counter-Strike with their friends. That's just like the kind of culture that a lot of us were raised in. But I think that's changing, right? I know tons of female gamers. Another issue is that I think in the study, a lot of the women that said they played games actually played like mobile games. Right? So they're still gamers. It's just a different kind of gamer, right? Maybe they're playing puzzle games and shit, right? Or mobile shooters and whatnot. Those aren't really the games that get into competitive like spheres, on like that have like tournaments and whatnot with money prizes. And Connor, like this idea, like trying to make them more like female oriented and giving them some kind of space. I don't think anybody wants to watch like a fucking Animal Crossing tournament, right? Like, so I think it makes more sense. I think it makes more sense, right, to just kind of break down that barrier. So encourage women to say, hey, it's okay for you to play this game. I think toxicity is a barrier, but gamers are toxic to everybody. They're not just toxic to women. So yeah, I just think you just got to break the stereotype. It's a guy thing to do.
Let's go, Phil Cowie.
first and foremost, before I get into any of that, one thing I do need to just say in full disclosure, to me, the idea of an esport athlete is to qualify that as an athlete to me is like one of the most ridiculous things in all labeling. To me,
You're so old.
That strikes me as somebody that like
Boomer.
the only fist fight you've ever been in is in a message board. Like that's what
Boomer
that strikes
alert.
me as.
Correct
Is like,
take.
okay, all right.
Correct
But
take.
okay, now that that's out of the way, all right. And it is kind of what Doobie was saying that, like, you know, men I've noticed do kind of gravitate to competitive games, but like my daughter, she loves to play games. It's just they're different kinds of games. They're ones that, like, maybe it might be Minecraft or some other kind of collaborative game where she'll play with her cousins, and also she loves Skyrim. She is a level 76 Nord mage. She totally loves that. So it's just different kind of games. So to me, I just, you know, different strokes for different folks. Different people are going to have different interests. Now, the fact that, okay, I'm sorry, but okay, if you're going to call me a boomer, like, I'm only 35, but I'm also a farmer out in the middle of nowhere. So I might qualify in other ways, but there are scholarships for playing video games. This is
Base.
real.
Base.
This is real.
Yeah, very
Fuck
real.
yeah.
This is great.
Maryville
Fuck
has
yes.
a lot.
Fuck
Oh,
yes.
we're gonna
Especially
argue here.
Maryville
my
is
card-
a university for
This
gaming.
is my Cartman moment where I go, well, all right, guys. I am no longer connected with anything that is cool in this world anymore. I will see you all later, guys. All
So
right, goodbye.
I'm gonna have to come back at you. Kaylee, are you only 35?
Yeah, I'm 35.
Okay.
God,
Can't you tell from his baby face?
God,
No.
fuck all you people. God,
You don't look a day
I-
over 26, buddy.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, all right.
You-
I see it now. I've
Even
never
30.
actually. I've only seen you in a tiny screen on my on my camera. Right, on
That is the face of a
yeah,
35-year-old.
a tiny video screen on my screen. So I've never actually seen you blowing up until just now. But now, actually, yes, you actually do look quite younger than I thought you did. But yeah, you're a handsome guy. Thank you.
Beautiful man.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe even like
fair enough.
20s.
Well, God, screw all your people. Shit.
But no, fair enough. All right. But okay, Layman.
Yeah, sure. So, I thought that right before we started this this stream about a half hour ago, one of my best friends actually suggested a study that was done specifically on sexism in gaming to me for me to check out. Where what the researchers did was they basically used the video game Halo. So it's for those who don't know what Halo is, if you don't, what the fuck? But it's a first-person shooter game that I guess the other people on the panel would consider one of these more like toxically masculine or whatever games because it's very violent or whatever. But the researchers, they had this hypothesis that maybe like female-initiated disruption of male hierarchy incites hostile behavior from poor-performing males. So they did it from this sort of like evolutionary perspective, and so they ran this experiment where they had these women and these men play Halo together, basically. And what they found was that the lower skilled male players, they were actually more hostile towards the female teammates. So not only other teammates, but also people that they were opposing as well, especially when they were performing poorly. So the more that the worse that the men performed at the game, the more sexist they were towards the women. And in contrast, lower skilled players behaved more submissively towards the gamers that were actually a lot better at playing the game. And the guys, the men in this study who were playing were actually a lot more. They were actually a lot less sexist because they performed really well. And the researchers basically suggested that the low status men. They increased like female directed hostility to minimize the loss of status. So it's like a status thing, right? As a consequence of some kind of like hierarchical like reconfiguration resulting from like, oh no, there's a woman here. What the fuck? This is bullshit. I hate women, you know? But the higher skilled players, in contrast, they did act more amicably towards the women playing in the games. So as higher skilled players have less to fear from hierarchical like reorganization in that sense. The researchers argued that like the reason why the men behave more positively was because they actually performed better and they felt less threatened, I guess. So that was really interesting. So that's all that I've read on this. And this specifically did look at like gaming and like competitive gaming. The study in and of itself did. I'll link it in the chat.
Please do.
I only like browsed the abstract of it. Obviously, I didn't have time to read the full fucking study, but it's really, really interesting stuff. So I'll put this in the group chat for everybody, and people can, I don't know, if someone wants to slide that into the Twitch stream if they like, they can, but it's really fucking cool.
Make a goddamn account, but still, yeah, I'll do that for you. But yeah, this makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, it's depressing that apparently male brains are really that simple. Oh my god, it's really sad. Let's go. Let's go, Shadows.
Yeah. So I think people find that there are different types of games that women play, and of course, as someone who is an enthusiast of esports, I mean, I really don't watch other ones. I mainly just watch League, but I'm down for all types of games being competitive. But the thing is that something you point out in the question is that like 46% of the player base is female. And while that's true, I think that there's an issue when it comes to the pool of the people these varsity, these esports colleges are pulling from, because like when a college like Maryville, for example, wants to give someone a scholarship because they're really good at League, they're giving someone a scholarship who's either in Grandmaster or Challenger. Okay, so these is high MMR. When you go to high MMR players, the pool of women starts to shrink. There are, of course, women there, but it's a lot smaller. So when you look at all these giant League streamers who are all men, I can literally only think of one female League streamer who's Challenger. And that's it. It's only Gamer Girl. That's it. The next one is down in Masters, and Yvonne is fucking great, but there are just not that many high MMR streamers, and there are not as many high MMR females, because the thing is, to get to high MMR, you have to be sad and alone and sit inside all day and have to fucking grind away at this video game. And you know who's more likely to be sad and alone? Men. And it's fucking true. You can't really argue with that.
Oh, there you go. Alice, prove that he's wrong, that you're sad and alone. Go ahead.
I'm definitely not sad and alone, but that's because I'm a trans and we're all poly. So anyway,
damn.
To address a few things. So first off, I just want to correct myself because I think that's important. I linked a few studies, and people pointed out that these studies have some differing effects. And I linked another study that shows that there's no difference among female gamers and male gamers, people who self-identified as a gamer. They have similar reaction times. So that's a little bit muddy. So I will fully admit that that needs some more research.
It's interesting though that all these people agreed with you afterwards, though, that women do have a lower reaction times. But okay,
yeah, women suck. Women suck.
Women who are not gamers and men who are not
I said
gamers.
it was cultural. What the fuck?
No. So that's what I was. That's what I was
I
saying.
stand by it.
See how long you last.
Alice, finish. Alice, finish, please. You guys can go afterwards, please.
All I was going to say is that I think that some of the effect that we saw in some of those studies probably can be attributed to social elements. That differences between sexes and are roughly equivalent to differences. Gender and sex are equivalent, or close to equivalent. So we can say that there's a social component, and that social component can be what we're seeing here. So that's important to keep in mind.
I know that I made like a evolutionary biology kind of argument too about like status and hierarchies and stuff like that. But even that is something that you can affect through socialization, so that sexist behavior doesn't manifest.
Exactly, and that's all I wanted to say is
like
just to correct myself.
Yeah, like the environment, culture, and biology, they're not mutually exclusive categories. Like your genetics are always being affected by the environment is always being affected by how you express those genes, et cetera, et cetera. It's never a binary thing like that.
That's right. Yep. That's all I wanted to say. Some people accuse me of like biological essentialism. No, I'm not a biological essentialist. I pinky promise.
Neither am I. I know that I said some red pill shit. But yeah.
So just so I'm clear, I'm understanding this properly, you're retracting the statement that you said that females have lower reaction time.
I'm retracting the.
On
I'm not going to retract the statement because studies show that there's a statistically significant effect. But I am going to say that there's no proof that shows that it is a something that's based on sex. It could be something that's socialization related.
Well, I actually
So,
think
so to
there
be
is.
saying that people are bred
Holly Holmes had some
differently?
pretty
Ooh,
action
wait,
time.
can I
would hate
reply
have
to that?
match gloves with her.
Yeah, you,
Wait, really quickly. So just to be clear, I think that so I think it is true that females on average do have a lower reaction time than men, right? But it's also true that you can train reaction time, and so many of these women who've been gaming for their entire lives don't ever tell Eris I said this, okay? But Eris has destroyed me in literally every video game I've ever played with her. Overwatch, Rust, she fuck every single time, right? No matter what fucking game we play. Don't tell her I said that. But she's been gaming. She's been a gamer her entire life, right? So she has very fast reaction times. I've watched her play like streaming and shit. And she's fast as fuck. I don't understand it, right? So that's something you can train, right? But I think that because many of these women, when they're growing up, they are socialized not to play video games like young boys are. Maybe they don't get time to develop those reaction times. Because it's true that at the top tier like gamers have reaction times as fast as fighter pilots. This is like an actual like skill.
go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Shadows.
Yeah, so I was gonna respond to that because something that I've heard whenever people talk about like biological differences is that men do have more fast twitch muscle fibers. So I think that's more so when it comes to athletic sports, but I think that does still involve like the fingers and your arms and whatnot. But yes, you can obviously train reaction time. That's very true, and I know that because I have very shit reaction time. I cannot flash out of an Ori ult for the life of me. I cannot tell you how many times I've died because I have a shit reaction time and I just can't hit the F key fast enough. So yeah, like it has nothing to do with just general. And very much be trained.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone?
But then you're implying that it
Oh,
can
Jakiti.
be genetically created.
No. What that means is that the genes are there, but then through neuroplasticity, your brain, how it responds to the environment and stuff, attunes to certain skills and certain perceptions and stuff like that. So if we were to concede, right? If we were to because I don't know about the reaction time stuff, I have to look at the data first. But let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that it's like that it's true that on average the average woman like in the population has lower reaction times. But when you control for whether or not, because one of the studies that was linked in the chat, I just popped it up real quick, seemed to suggest that when you control for whether or not they're gamers and whether or not they're actively invested in that changes. So maybe it's possible that on average they do have lower reaction times, but then as they invest more in gaming through neuroplasticity again, and through socialization and through training your brain to recognize what you are doing, you can easily rewire these structures in your head to make your reaction times better. So that seems to be what that would suggest if we were to actually go off of what the data says.
And that's the study that I posted to correct myself, just for clarity's sake. That's the study I just posted. I'll post it again if you need me to.
I don't think
But
you need to correct yourself.
I ain't gonna read it.
Both of those
you
things
good.
can technically be true at the same time, is what I was kind of getting at.
yeah, but I don't care about being wrong. If I'm wrong, then I'll just admit I'm wrong.
Oh no, that's good. And that's awesome. Me too. I'm just saying that both of those things can be true at the same time, and probably are.
So-
is what I'm saying.
I thought I was wrong, but it turns out I was mistaken.
Can I ask Haley a question? Because I was actually really because I used to think this way, right? Oh God, esports, that's a sport. What the fuck are you talking about? But Kiwi, like, would you agree that like chess, right, is something that could be considered a skill that you can make, a game that you can master? That's not really a physical thing, right? This is like a mental
You can't
game.
you can't get your nose broken doing it. And in my opinion, it's a game.
Oh,
It ain't a
God.
sport.
Wait, hold on, basketball. Hold on,
Sorry.
basketball is literally like grown men running around trying to put a ball in a hole. Like, this isn't like, come
No, I was like,
So you
now, to
just
me,
should-
my
but you have a better
only
shot.
sports reference is mixed martial arts and boxing. That's the only thing I've ever done. So when I'm thinking of like
Oh my
an
God.
athlete as like as somebody who plays video games, I get it. Very fast reaction time. That's great. but to what end? What does that actually produce in the end? It does, like, other than the
What
fact
is
that
what is
an
football?
Well, I
industry
would
that's
like- oh, I
interested
would
in
Well, I would
watching
argue.
it happen.
So bad.
Look,
What is
man.
that?
KOE's knocking at the right door, right? You could say that one of the problems that's in esports currently is the limitation of job growth outside of the profession. You don't really have a lot of jobs that can filter into esports without being within the esports economy itself. Now, that's very true for other things like football and stuff like that, but it's way easier to go down a pipeline where you find out you're not successful and maybe not going to make it to the NFL, go into broadcasting or some types of sport broadcasting, and have a full-fledged, like, profitable career. And this is also true for things like in every single sport imaginable, where once you retire from that sport, you can have a career in that sport. Where I would argue in esports, because of the fragility and sort of the grassroots nature, which is live streaming, it's incredibly hard to monetize your brand.
Ooh,
Yeah, I think for this,
what
I think but this could just be like a side effect of it being like we're at the beginning of esports, right? And
We've been at the beginning, like when's the not beginning then? You know, like it feels like we hear it every like every couple of years. Like, when the grass
007 was the
is
beginning
growing,
of
is-
esports, sir.
Yeah, Joe, I understand, but I feel like if you went back 10 years, you'd find the esports scene is much smaller. I don't think we had esports scholarships 10 years ago, right?
No.
And
in college.
yeah, so this seems to be like a growing scene. So at the start, yeah, it's gonna be much harder for these people to build like livelihoods off this thing for sure.
Yeah, I'd say I would. Sorry.
Right now. No, maybe I would agree. It's probably a bad career path right now, but it seems to be it seems to be building up to something, right? And I don't know the history of football,
Is-
baseball. I don't know how long it took for those leagues to come together.
Is playing football a good career?
Yes, compared to esports.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Hold on, let's be real for a second.
Yes.
No,
Without
let's be real
question.
for a second. You were kind of questioning the validity of esports over whether or not it offered like career opportunities. Is getting the shit kicked out of you in the NFL like a good way to like create a career?
Well, there's
What's the
plenty of things
failure
that you
rate
can
for
do.
professional?
There are plenty of career paths.
What's
that
the
you can
failure
do.
rate for
Human
professional
beings,
football
aside
players?
from other creatures and other species, was our ability to throw things accurately, which is one of the reasons that we seem to value these sports that involve a ball at all, is because it was one of the essential survival skills of our species at the beginning, is our ability to throw things accurately. Now,
Yeah, I'm
video
just saying
games
esports.
seems,
I'm just saying
to-
esports has to branch out into other fields professionally to validate its existence as a profession.
Not
Because
saying
right
that's
now,
a
even
great
from a
reason, but
marketability standpoint, there aren't a lot of sponsors that will even just like go into esports as a brand, because a lot of people understand the hostility of the environment that's created predominantly by men. So it's really tricky to see big sponsors go into the esports space without being shunned out, which is why you're stuck with these these fucking kids in their basements drinking Monster Energy drink and saying, "I like to shout out my sponsor in the stream today. Oh, go Berry Fuel, Gamer Fuel." It's like, the fuck, there's the highest sponsor that I can think of in terms of the drink branding is Red Bull. Even that's still niche. Like, I want to see, like, if we want to talk about the validity of esports as a growing brand, I'm with that. But right now, it's soft.
Shadows?
It's way too soft.
Hate on
to do
Go
that.
Berry
Okay,
Gamer Fuel
so
here.
part of this is what Doobie's saying. We're in the early stages, and part of this is just, I mean, I just disagree with it. So when it comes to like niche branding, this is not true. In 2019, Nike decided to sponsor the entire LPL, which is China's pro scene for League of Legends. Okay, this is a massive
Fuck
country.
globalism. Fuck globalism. We want the games in a fucking America. What's the sponsorship in China gonna do to the gamers in the States? Shit, it ain't gonna do shit.
They're doing
Asking the
because
hard-hitting
they
But
have-
question.
I get you got
Let's
flags in
rally
the
the
back.
gamers
So
against
They're doing it
globally.
because they're-
I get you got flags in the back.
Oh, wow.
So I understand that you got
sorry,
that
sorry,
globalist
guys.
ass take.
The first esports competition was actually held in 1980, Championship Atari Space Invaders game. So esports been around longer than I've been alive. So the idea that it's in the infancy, like, I'm sorry, UFC is
Haley.
younger than this, and it's a
No,
billion dollar.
Haley, that's not-
Okay, but oh my God,
Shadows, please.
I'm just saying.
Okay, wait. I think that's a misrepresent because there were tournaments, yes, right.
Yeah.
But the esports leagues, these are different things, right? These are professional teams that have dedicated all their working hours to getting good at a video game, and these people are sponsored by companies. They have their bills paid by these companies. That they're housed by these companies. These people are getting scholarships. It's not what you're talking about is a tournament, right? Yeah, there have been tournaments forever. Right? This is a different thing. Like these leagues are a little different, I think.
Yeah, okay. So to go back to my point, like it's not true that there are these one of the LCS teams, I guess, since Joe wants me to talk about America, Golden Guardians is literally funded by the Golden State Warriors. They are basically
Cool.
like the esports branch of these guys.
Yeah,
So
I'm with it.
but
I'm with it.
part of it
Go towards
is,
the basketball brand. You know.
and then like I mentioned with the LPL thing, like part of it is the infancy thing, LPL is one of the more recent leagues. It hasn't been around for a decade, and now they're getting really huge, and there's a huge fan base. And also part of it is just there were a few other points that I disagreed with, but I kind of lost them, so I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm just saying the sponsors are shit, but yeah.
I think we should maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Prime. You go.
No, it's fine. But I wanted to move this conversation along. So these esports leagues, right? You're saying before that maybe to get more women in, I want to keep it a more women-focused thing. That we should maybe change the games, right? But
listen, you don't have to be sober.
Is that simply no? Is that simply molding the market, right? Like trying to create a market that doesn't truly exist, right? Like why isn't there, like let's say Mario Kart is the thing, right? Is the ticket. Why isn't there already a Mario Kart league? I mean, people are always looking for more games to invest in.
I have a great answer to this.
Since it was my point and I haven't talked a lot, could I address it?
Sure.
Yeah. So basically, like so for instance, just as an example that I hope parallels is my wife loves the Bachelorette. Okay, I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. I can't watch it sober. But at the same time, just because it's stupid trash TV doesn't mean that there isn't a certain level of emotional intelligence to it. So I got drunk and I watched it and a few times. And basically what I realized is that it is a masterclass in emotional intelligence and body language. And that's what she's getting into. So just because we can't conceive it because we're big, dumb men, or most of us are big, dumb men, doesn't mean that there isn't a market or a certain kind of game that would appeal to women. And it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be an audience willing to go for it. So I think it's possible. I just don't think that we even have the ability to imagine it because we're big, dumb men, or most of us are big, dumb men.
Okay, so I want to. Can I make a point?
Go to Shadows, then we'll go to Joe.
Well, so I want to respond to yours, but man, Connor's point is now I really just want to watch my sister get really fucking hammered and try and watch LCS.
She's sober.
The thing about when it comes to why isn't there a Mario Kart League, this is actually a huge problem when it comes to Super Smash Bros. Like competitive Smash Bros is a thing, but the thing is Nintendo doesn't give a fuck about the competitive esports scene, and they fucked it over multiple times. Like they don't want their games being like an esports, and it's really fucking weird, like how they've fucked over their games being in this market, and I don't get it. Like they've also fucked over content creators who do it, like content creators who specialize in Nintendo games. It's so fucking weird.
It's their IP. They can do whatever they want with it. And also, what type of branding can you do within Nintendo that can cater to the esports market within Super Smash Brothers?
Well, US Smash
Gamer chairs,
Mario Kart. I mean, but
GameCube controllers from the 2000s.
I mean, they've updated it since GameCube, right?
Yeah, GameCube is still the fucking standard controller. Let's not be sucking our own dicks here. It's a gaming standard controller.
I'm not that flexible.
Yeah.
We're not going to address
Shadow's point. There is a market that could be capitalized on. It seems like a failing on Nintendo's part not to, especially with esports growing as an industry.
IP, they can do what they want, and they made it very clear that they're protective of their
they
IP.
could never produce again for their IP. It's still a dumbass choice.
Yeah, exactly.
They're fine without it, but
they're a private company. It's up to them, but they still fucking themselves
about
over.
An esports team. Their goal is to sell more games, and so I'm sorry that's just counter to what they want to do. So
yeah. Also,
that's it.
I think a useful thing to maybe mention. I think women on average, again, this isn't biological essentialism. On average, they tend to be less competitive than men. So maybe when it comes to competitive sports games, maybe they just prefer not to play competitive games, and that might explain the disparity there. maybe they
So
prefer
that
voting,
just
stuff
seems like
that. That's a
Social
question.
life.
conditioning.
And
Yeah, no,
it's-
I'd agree, but that just seems like it's conditioned, right, by the culture
It-
they're raising. Now, go ahead,
It is.
Alice.
No, I'm saying it is a little bit. So I've done a lot of research on this because I argue with a lot of people who are biological essentialists on Calliopean Club because men really like sucking their own dicks, even if they're not flexible enough to do
Oh,
it.
hell yeah.
Point
Yeah,
is
Joe.
that so men actually are more competitive. Testosterone adds to the competitiveness of men, and it is actually a biological effect of testosterone. It's one of the very few places I'm going to acknowledge biological essentialist arguments that testosterone causes more extreme competitiveness. Now it's what is it, a 5 or a 10% effect? Does not
Yeah,
really
it doesn't
matter.
account for everything.
Yeah,
of
it's
course.
not
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
There's socialization that's
course.
pretty large. Yes.
Well, can I ask what are the biological essentialist effects of estrogen?
There are none. Estrogen has absolutely no effects on actual function in normal everyday life. Estrogen causes no physiological or mental effects. It doesn't cause any effects that estrogen does not make you more emotional. I pinky promise because I would know this one.
Well, okay,
Alright,
so
we
for
understand.
instance, sorry, I just had a follow-up
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So for instance, ContraPoints, one of my favorite YouTube creators or whatever, was just talking about the transition experience and kind of how even like sexual attraction changed over time. No.
This is a different topic, different topic entirely. But so estrogen does not change your sexual attraction, doesn't change anything. Now, are you going to have a social effect? Yes. So if I didn't say I was trans, I'm not sure that
No. I wasn't saying gendered. I was saying the way that you're attracted to people.
Yes, that's what I'm saying is no, that's not changed by estrogen. Most of that is a social effect. There's something that let's say AFAB or non-trans females who are lesbians, they experience something that's kind of similar. That's purely a social effect, and it's compulsory heterosexuality. So that's not something that's a biological effect. It's not like they have this biological drive, to go and be with men. It's a social effect largely. And the effect that ContraPoints talks about is largely social as well. So once she started passing more and once she started being seen as a woman, the social impetus was for her to be with men. I've had a relatively similar effect. My primary sexuality is attracted to men, but when I was seen as a guy, then I didn't want to be seen as gay because that's bad in society. But
I'd also like to add,
almost entirely am attracted to men. So
I'd also like to add something, Connor.
Before we move on,
I think this is something
Go
that
ahead.
you might give you some closure just on the topic a little bit. Like, I think there might be just some framing because of the way that the conversation is going that estrogen like literally does nothing. And I think what you're saying, Alice, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that it doesn't have any effects that we would really notice, like sociologically or societally, right? Because
yes.
On the
I'm just giving this a quick Google. It just seems like estrogen obviously does have like causal effects on the body otherwise, right? Like
Yes.
can I clarify? Can I just very quickly clarify, and then you can address it for the people at home, just because I'm not sure if they're as familiar with what I'm talking about. So when I was trying to talk about sexuality, I wasn't even trying to talk about like sexual choice or who your partners are or anything like that. What I meant was like attraction. So for instance, the descriptive part that I was listening to was basically that because of maybe I'm being biologically essentialist here in my articulation, but feel free to push back. Basically that people are attracted very physically, viscerally, and also kind of based off of like visual cues. And that was kind of how Contra described her previous sexuality when she was still operating as a man. Whereas once she started taking E, it was more like socialization, social cues, attraction kind of became more personalized, socialized, less based off of physical or visual cues.
No, I would love to have a sit down with you and talk about this, and I have evidence for it. But no, there is no effect like that. Estrogen causes literally no, socio-physiological effects. Estrogen will do nothing. So estrogen.
This was a subjective perception.
Yes, this is basically her fucking up a little bit by misattributing her social effects to a physical effect. Yes, and I have studies to show that.
Oh, cool! I would love to talk about
it in the
sometime.
description.
This is going to be about 20 studies.
Oh, okay.
If you want to talk to me about that, DM me and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on the
Absolutely.
stream. but it's a way bigger
100%.
topic. ContraPoints gets a
Cool.
lot of things right, but she gets a lot of things wrong. And a lot of trans
True.
people want to be affirmed, and they want to be seen as, well, but now I'm attracted to men, and it's because of the estrogen, and that changed how my sexuality works, and now I'm more of a woman than I was before. But that's not how it works. So, yeah, exactly. Trans people are in estrogen. Just to address Snapper there. Hey, Snapper, do I look like a man? I might look a little bit more masculine than some women that you know, but do I look like a man? And probably not. And that's because estrogen has a physical effect.
That's a good
So
contrapoint.
really quickly, I just want to confirm. I've known Alice for a long time, and I can confirm, give you the Doobie seal of approval. You are a billion times smarter than counterpoints.
Man,
Oh,
a billion.
damn.
Hey, listen. A billion times 0 is still 0, motherfucker.
I just got to say, this is totally unrelated, but I have to say that I've done an AMA with counterpoints. That bitch is annoying as fuck. I hate that bitch. Anyway, that was it. I love you guys.
Yeah, so we
Real
can
sexist
accept
man,
then
but okay.
at one level, like
Thought it
the
was attacking me.
systems
My
that
bad.
the systems that currently stand in esports are not femme inviting. So it seems like we're all on board in the advocacy that the entire system would have to be dismantled before there's some type of space that's inclusive for women.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
that
it should be dismantled. I think
Let's actually talk about that shit. And then, like,
that's a good way to bring the conversation. Yeah, like what are the prescription? Like we all agree that like sexism is a problem in video games. Like what's the prescription now?
All right, what's point one? Let's start like at the first level. What's the ground floor of this change?
I guess
women need to create their own spaces.
I actually forgot to
Well, it
mention
doesn't-
something that's actually really important in this conversation. That I think it might have to be it might be a big part of it. Might be a Western culture thing, because I already have mentioned the LPL, but believe it or not, the majority of the fans in China are actually women, and part of this is because some of these guys actually model, and a lot of girls just think they're hot, and like they have fan clubs, like. Players like Shahu and Duanby like have massive fan clubs because these women.
Look, this is the CIA feminizing the Chinese male. Okay.
Shadows, I'm losing you, man. So what are you trying to advocate for here?
I'm saying that the fan base in China is actually very much largely female, and you know they like these. It's similar to how females may not understand a sport as much, but they like a certain team because they have the quarterback is hot or something. It is similar to that in a sense. They obviously understand the game once they watch it a few times, but they get interested because oh wow, this guy's hot.
So you're trying to say to me,
oh boy,
that we just gotta yeet, hold up. So just yeet all the ugly fucks out. That would leave like 4 gamers.
That's what I
mean,
heard you say.
Sneaky gets to stay.
I could get this gorgeous mug on there and start gaming there. I could make up for
right. So again, like I'm just saying. So like you're saying that okay, because that these esports athletes do other things outside of the profession, which I would agree, it's probably better to branch outside of esports than it is internally because that widens your brand. I agree with that aspect. But I'm not too sure if that's gonna just like rope in the fan base.
Can I? Okay. So
no. Go ahead, Shadows. You can respond to that.
I mean that is a big part of it, and that's what I'm kind of saying. I mean that is what they do. It's just like these bigger teams.
My dude, there's some ugly ass niggas who play esports. Ugly motherfuckers. Mad ugly motherfuckers. So that's a lot of gamers. That's a lot of gamers, my dude. Maybe we'll and then like. I guess you simps can keep Hassan, but like I don't know where we're gonna go with that.
So you think hold on, I wanna really understand what you're trying to say here, Shadows, right? And I wanted to straw man you. So your argument is that like women just generally get into sports because the athletes are hot?
I mean, have you talked to women who have done that? Because I have. Like,
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm sure.
Yeah, that feels a little demeaning.
boy, no,
I'm not saying it's the
Like,
only way.
like,
I'm not
like,
saying
look,
it's the
look,
only
my
way.
girlfriend.
Obviously,
that's all you said before. You just said, hey,
Yeah,
women.
yeah. I'm just saying,
No,
like,
I'm saying that this is a big part of the reason why they have a larger.
Oh, so how big of a
yeah,
reason
but
is it?
I mean,
No,
like,
hold
my
on, wait, hold on a second, hold on.
my girlfriend.
Everyone, shut up.
Hold on.
Hold on,
One person at a time.
I want to hear this. Shadows. How big of a reason do you think this is?
I think it's a pretty big reason, and like Joe pointed out, like these dudes literally do modeling in magazines, and I think, like he pointed out, like they do need to branch out. Like that is a part of it, you know.
So you're thinking women can't? I mean, sure, people like attractive people.
Where's my girlfriend
shit.
fit in this?
Oh shit! Please,
Okay,
I really want to tackle this. So women just can't, you know.
No,
It's not a big. Sorry, I can't. You don't think it may be a bigger part that women can appreciate the athleticism and the skill and all of those other things like that's secondary to hot guys throw ball around?
No, it's not secondary. I mean, that's like saying that, you know,
So
people only watch Pokemon because like she's hot. You know,
So,
obviously it's not
Shadows, let me help you.
Yeah,
I'm on board on one
why are we
aspect.
helping? No, I'm really curious.
I'm on board for one aspect, right? I think there is way too much titty in gaming, so I will say that.
I
right?
don't think that.
Like less Glock, more cock. I'm with you there. But
No,
right,
no.
like
No, what I'm saying is the argument that it sounds like I'm making, I guess, because I'm saying is like saying that, you know, people only watch Pokemon because, you know, people think she's hot.
You mean Pokimane? Oh, okay. I'm really confused. I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. But all right, go ahead.
They only watch Pokemon because she's hot.
Say, like she looks like
Misty's hot though. Like Misty's kind of fire, but
Misty is fire, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep forgetting that everyone pronounces it that way, but yeah.
That's because that's how it's pronounced. That's how it's pronounced. That's why people pronounce it that way.
It's not supposed to be pronounced that way, but okay.
No, that's actually how it's pronounced. It's Pokimane.
It's irrelevant.
No, it's not. But it's Pokimane because Pokemon is something different. In case you didn't know.
No,
But
Pokemon panel.
Okay, go ahead.
No, we know what he means.
Hold on. So we'll go to Alice and we'll go to Connor.
oh my god. So the question that we have here is basically like, how do we make gaming more attractive to like cis women? That's a difficult question. And yes, we could make it more like attractive. Like we can make it like we have in China where there's parasocial relationships. I get it. That's not a bad approach, right? Smart, good idea. In general, we can make it more approachable. We can make the communities less toxic, which is what Riot has tried to do with League of Legends. They've tried to tone down the toxicity and punish people who are being toxic. That's a good approach. I don't really know that you can do anything else other than approach it at the base level, though. And the base level is that everybody who's like, I'm becoming a professional gamer, they're told like, well, that's absolutely fucking insane. But it is much worse for women. Women are told, well, there's no way that you're going to be able to be a gamer. You're going to have to be a support. You're going to go heal people. You can't do anything else because you're a woman. And like that is genuinely something that happens. Is like if I'm passing, then people are like, well, you're going to go play support, right? No, I'm not going to play fucking support. I'm going to play AD carry. I'm going to carry your fucking ass because you suck at this game. And like so I think that the primary thing that we need to do is we need to make it approachable for women. We need to make it that there are fans who are women. Like that is crucial because overall it's not that there are fans that are women. Like there are exceptions, but overall it's not true. Women make up a large amount of anything, but there's not that many women who are fans of fucking watching LCS. It's just not that interesting necessarily for some women. So I think we need to approach it, two-prong, make it more interesting for everybody, involved without making it some sort of like, autism fest. And then we also have to make it more enjoyable to participate without like getting shit on. So those two elements need to be fixed.
Okay, sure. Connor, then LSP, KOE.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to piggyback off of that because I think it's really, again, like I'm not trying to be biologically essentialist or whatever, but at the same time, you're asking the wrong fucking people, right? So number one, I actually I reject the fact that everybody wanted to jump down Shadow's throat for wanting hot dudes to play video games. I don't know why we're rejecting hot dudes. Basically, like if
That's
esports
that's
became
not what he asked
dominated.
for. That's not what he was at. That's not the premise.
I
that
want
was,
more cocks, my dude.
I want hot
questioning.
dukes in video games.
That, was,
I want more
that
different
wasn't the
games.
premise I was questioning. So let's be clear. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Then the second thing is asking women what kind of spaces, what kind of games, what do they want? And that's the thing is like not, I hate to say this because it is fairly biologically essentialist, but not every single woman likes to tomahawk somebody in the back of the head with a fucking machete and watch their brains come out. I know plenty of dudes do. So you got to ask, like, what do you want? Because I love blood and guts and violence and gore and, very quick twitch, fast violence. That's my speed. But that doesn't mean that that's for everybody. So what do women want? What's entertaining? What creates a good space for them? And what are they interested in? And frankly, I don't fucking know, because whether it's biological or sociological, I'm a fucking idiot and I'm completely oblivious to what women want in a gaming space.
Okay.
But wouldn't that come with a more inclusive space, the base level of just from like game design and marketing? Like, if you have more people, like a more diverse marketing base, that could lead to better outcomes. It seems to be the marketing level. Yeah,
listen, if you want my action heroes to be more female inclusive, that is fine. I want tits and dick and ass, and I want it all over the place. And if you want to start hanging dong in order to be more inclusive, if you're like, hey, there's too much boobies in my video games, the solution is not to take out the boobies. The solution is to add dong and abs. Okay? So
wait, I can get behind that.
Are you advocating for dick girls right now?
No. Regular dicks.
Advocating for dick.
Ooh,
No, just
functionality.
men.
Interesting.
Add more like sexualized men.
Energy.
No,
sexual pro dick energy.
I vote for that. I want more sexualized men in video games. I would play more video games if the men were sexualized in them.
So cocks not
sexualized if you ask me.
Okay. Wait, is it my turn? Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, oof. Secondly, I want to address an argument. You're gonna find this weird. I want to address an argument from chat. Specifically from Znapper, who writes, it's just funny that these progressives say stuff like, I don't want to sound like a biological essentialist when talking about male, females in sports, but when it comes to sexuality or gender identity, they use essentialist arguments. So there's a crazy misunderstanding happening here that I think needs to be addressed. The reason you can throw out the biological essentialist arguments for sports, because there is no biological basis to believe that men would just be more competitive at, I shouldn't say competitive, better at sports or better at esports or games like that. We can see like a lot of culture playing into this. And when it comes to identity, gender identity or sexual orientation, we got the reverse. We got a culture that very, very vociferously pushes back against anybody having an identity of this kind out of the norm. So that's why you would make a biological essentialist argument for somebody who's transgender that you wouldn't make for somebody who is a gamer, right? Or somebody who likes video games, right? This is a constructed culture, and identities is a construct of well, I'd say identity. It certainly isn't embedded by culture.
Well, how did we get here? I'm confused.
I was addressing an argument chat was bringing up in response to something you said, but that was like 9 paragraphs ago. But I raised my hand like an idiot instead of just butting in at the time like I should have. So we are well past it.
And,
so
and now you've learned. And now you've learned. Go ahead.
Now I've learned. I've done my fucking lesson.
Thank you, sir. Now, I was just going to say, like, it was kind of with what Connor said and in response to Alice, they're talking about how, now we're talking about video games, but I don't want to get into biological essentialism here. And I was thinking, wow, that is quite there's a lot encompassed in that net of a conversation. The first thing that came to my mind, Bob Dylan, well, the times they are a-changing. But yeah, now, folks, in terms of how do we get a better interactive game experience that can appeal to the most amount of people possible, there is an answer, folks, and it is out there. And the game making company is called Bethesda, with amazing games like the Fallout series, the Elder Scrolls series, and the soon-to-be-released Starfield. They make a fully customizable experience that every person can enjoy their own path to how they want to get there. And that's the real future of gaming, is a almost self-generating experience. So this competitive, the fact that we're playing games where it's like, I'm playing as the basketball team, I'm playing as the other basketball team. That's going to be like, you're going to be looked at like grandpa when you're playing those games before too terribly long. We're on the cusp of some pretty amazing stuff. And yeah, so what I'm saying, what the real solution is completely customizable gaming experiences, the likes of which are offered by great companies like Bethesda. And I yield.
I mean,
Can I
Pornhub
rebut
does
this
the same
directly?
thing through VR. So
That man
that
could sell me
experience through
EA. I'm not
VR.
gonna lie. Phil could sell me EA.
Connor?
God damn it. Yeah. So I want to rebut this directly because it's actually a business class.
You're roboting again,
that,
Connor. You're roboting again, Connor.
Yeah.
You're roboting again, Connor.
I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Your cameras. We're on Discord. Stop moving. All right, can you hear me now? Okay.
Still roboting.
No,
You're still
it's really
roboting,
bad.
Connor.
It's real bad. I don't
You're
know.
still roboting.
I could try changing the server and seeing if that helps.
What about this?
Try it again.
It seems to have stabilized on my end.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're
cool.
back.
Sure.
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Pepsi, I want to say it was Pepsi. They hired a consultant to try to create the perfect Pepsi soda that would appeal to the most amount of people possible. And they hired this consultant, and this consultant did exhaustive research with a variety of formulas. And the results of that study were basically that there is not one perfect Pepsi. There are a variety of markets, and that you should create specifically tailored to those markets to give them the best product possible that meets their individualistic taste. This consultant was fired, and basically his ideas were completely rejected. But competitors, I want to say, picked up this idea, and that's why you have Cherry Coke, Vanilla Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, because everybody has different palates. So basically what I'm saying is, I actually have the exact opposite theory of what's going to happen according to KOE. I actually think that it's entirely possible to create custom tailor-made video game experiences for niche audiences that will appreciate them. And that's art.
Something I was thinking of,
I
building
like
off
your
of what you
gumption.
said,
I like
is-
your moxie there, kid.
something I'm thinking of maybe is like, if a company decided to release a game, they could release two different versions of the same game, and perhaps one of those versions could like appeal to a more like female typical audience, and the other one could.
That's
appeal to a more,
not
like, male
no.
typical
That's a
audience.
terrible idea.
No?
That's a terrible idea.
Okay, I don't know.
It
could
I'm
be-
throwing.
That's
Look,
no,
I'm not
red.
saying.
I'll just say
No,
no.
let me-
I'll tell you why. No, I'm not. And I'm not trying to like be I don't know. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to
I
tell
just
you
really
why.
want to clarify something before you respond. Like, I want to clarify.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that idea out there.
Yeah.
I have no attachment to that. I
Yeah.
want to see what people think of it. It's a thought that popped into my head.
Yeah,
That's all I
I
want.
mean, just that game development is extremely expensive, right? And to create and like, what would that look like? And I could see this being a PR disaster. Because like, okay, so like you like, especially since video game design is a male dominant industry, right? So then you have like the regular version, and everyone's gonna think the male version is the regular version, and the female version, and then what those male designers think women want, right?
Yeah.
And who the fuck knows what come out of that, right? And that's assuming they had the limited money to make two separate games, and then one that and understanding that they are less women gamers, and you're just assuming that they would go and buy that, so you're going to make a version specifically that will almost certainly sell less, just all around.
More
No.
dumb.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
That's why
fair
they
enough.
make
Fair
a
enough.
base Skyrim and let people mod the shit out of it into their own.
There you go, Alice.
But you need to be able to, but you have to be able to draw in like that base in the first place, right? And that's kind of what I think. Because if you're offering a KOE, just if you're offering like a completely customizable experience, the thing about Bethesda games is that doesn't happen until you buy the game first, right? So
Okay. Okay, but we could just make a game that had multiple different gameplay elements. Like you could make a game
Yeah.
that had some heavy action elements and also had some heavy, like more, interesting social elements.
Yeah.
Like for instance, every fucking Bethesda game in existence. I actually unironically agree with KOE here. Bethesda actually does do a good job of making interesting, interesting games that apply that appeal to a larger audience. Now,
They do.
to Prime's point, you can't make two different games. It doesn't even make sense to do that. Just make a game that has multiple different gameplay elements that interest different types of people, not just men and women, because this is a biological essentialist thing. That just
this is why I wanted to. Okay, so this is why. Again, this popped into my head. I really want to clarify. Like, I'm not coming at it from that angle. I wasn't thinking of literally two different games. The male, the two genders, the male game and the female game. I wasn't trying to do that at all.
Sure.
Just to clarify,
Okay.
I was trying to.
Like
Connor, what? Connor?
No. So for instance, in
oh no,
in MMORPGs or whatever, like you can approach problems from different. God damn it! What about now?
I think you're good now.
Yeah, try.
Can you hear me now?
Dude. Yes.
Okay. So fucking MMORPGs have different elements. So you could do stealth, diplomacy, action, like vehicle combat, like all that kind of stuff. So just I'm not saying this is going to apply for every single game, but a game that could be marketed to a wide audience could say, hey, we're giving you problems with a variety of solutions, and how you approach these solutions are as varied as your actual personality.
Yes. That's kind of So that's kind of what I ideally would want, right? When the way that I framed this starting was pretty bad, I'll admit. But no, I meant like have games maybe this is a better way to word it. So like when you make a game and you release it and you market it, just have it appeal in like a gender neutral sense, maybe. Would that be a better way to word what I'm saying? Like, not have it appeal in like one way of the spectrum or the other, like just kind of as broadly as you possibly can.
Well, just think about games that are not like. So first off, remember what the topic was about. The topic is about professional gamers, and I don't think there's any professional gamers out there playing, freaking art games, right? So like that's one thing to remember, is that you're not going to go make yourself, competitive Fallout. That's not going to happen. So that is one important thing to think about, is that competitive games lend themselves. Yeah, I mean, they did try that anyway. But the point is that overall, you're not going to have competitive Fallout. You're going to have a very specific type of competitive game. And that competitive game is going to be something that's action-based, and it's going to be fast-paced, and it's going to be able to be 15-minute rounds, and it's going to appeal to, I'm not even going to say that male concept, but it's going to appeal to that type of gamer, the type of gamer who likes just fucking killing things. Yeah. And overall, socially, that's going to be men. And that's just how it's going to work. Whether there's
on average.
I don't see a way to fix that. How do you fix that? How do you make a 10-minute round game that is socially interesting? Like, you can't do that. I fucking love Animal Crossing. You're not going to make competitive Animal Crossing.
You could try to, so I guess, and again, like this would have to be an entirely new kind of game where you would have a competitive game that would appeal to different demographics. Because it's not that like women aren't competitive at all, right? So, like you would have to have different different game modes, I guess, appeal to like a broad range of
competitive shopping, competitive dishwashing.
That's not what I mean.
Damn, bro.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
The only game
I know that's not what you mean. I was being cheeky.
Okay, all right.
I was being cheeky. I'm sorry.
What would it appeal?
What about?
I don't know. That's what I want people to figure out.
Here's the real problem. Men are the audience. That's the real problem right now. Is that so? First off, I don't know if you know of this. There was an all-female League of Legends team.
Oh,
they sucked.
Invictus.
They were so bad.
Clobbered.
They got destroyed because they couldn't perform. They could not perform.
And
they were literally
they were all like Diamond Force support mains, and they all tried to 4 different roles, and it's like that's not gonna work out.
Because the appeal was that they were female.
I'm not suggesting. I'm suggesting the structure of the game itself. I'm not suggesting.
How do you make that interesting to men? That's the problem. Men are the audience. The
Yeah.
problem is
You
men
don't,
are the
though.
audience.
You can-
It's not a problem of
But we're
females
trying to
want.
not make men
Well, how
just
do you make
men
the audience female?
right?
Men
Yeah.
are the audience. How do you make
No,
your
but what I'm saying is that we're not trying to make the audience.
Yeah,
men.
he's trying
That's
to
the
build a
whole
new
purpose of
audience.
the
He's saying
conversation is
we're
to
trying to
broaden the audience
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
which is inevitably going to entail less.
He's saying
men,
there's
right?
another market, and that's what Connor was saying previously. There's another market out there, right? That like even though that doesn't exist currently, there might be another market that we can build, maybe slowly, and it won't happen overnight. Certainly not, right?
Yeah.
But like,
And can I? Sorry.
no, yeah, and actually build that out. Joe, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think like the closest game that we got to that, and it's unfortunate because of COVID, is Fall Guys. I think that is the one game in a very long time that was an incredibly sort of skill neutral game that anyone could play and just do at scale. Now the problem is, right, is that how do you scale that up in an esports environment? What you'd probably have to do is have dedicated a dedicated server base and a dedicated game client that's different than the current system in Fall Guys, and make that strictly competitive. So that would be actually pretty prohibitively expensive. Now what that could look like is a lot of ways. Like you'd have to have, like, say, I'll just throw a number out there for scale. Like you could have like a 128 man bracket all open within this one dedicated game landscape. That would be a lot of fucking computers and a lot of fucking power, but that's something that is shown through esports that enough people are interested in it, and it's as open and inclusive as possible. It's definitely something you could branch out. Like competitive Fall Guys could have been the way for that. Now, what? Maybe that still can happen from COVID. I don't know, but
Well,
Among Us,
and just to piggyback off of that, like, what about social intelligence games? So, for instance, I know Among Us is wildly popular
Yeah.
for people to watch because it's basically about who's manipulating who's lying, who, like, all that kind of stuff. That stuff is, I mean, I don't fucking watch that shit, but I'm sure it's entertaining for a lot of different kinds of people. So I'm not saying that, like, but basically, like, social intelligence games are appealing to a broad audience. So for instance, there is a game that I used to play called Chems. It's actually like a bluff card game, and it's actually like I mean, used to play it in middle school, and it was one of like the most intense cross-gender experiences. Was basically creating a social space in which you had to figure out who was bullshitting. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it doesn't just have to be FPS, RTS, MMORPG, anything like that. Realistically, like the creativity is the limit, and it's the other limit is what is actually appealing. And so, for instance, like I'm being sexist right now, but I know the reason why my wife loves The Bachelorette is because of the emotional intelligence and emotional manipulation element to the show. To me, it's a dumb fuck show, but to her, it's actually like a question of figuring out who's full of shit and who isn't, and that's kind of the appeal.
So, okay, this is a question I've been wanting to ask you guys. But you take this all into very interesting directions.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's great. So we can either answer this or move on to another one. So you guys said, oh well, yeah, a lot of the women audience is into mobile games, right? But are mobile gamers?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Who the fuck keeps saying no? I want to meet them.
Oh no, that's me. That's me.
We could
I'm
have-
saying
you
no.
know what we could
Motherfucker,
do?
what
I'm
is this
saying
rigid?
no.
I don't understand it. Why?
You know what would help? You know what would help the gender divide though? Maybe I don't know, and I don't know if this is a thing. I'm
People
not
like
that-
Prime not being so judgmental of mobile games.
Don't make fun of.
They're
PUBG
not.
Mobile is
Trying to
actually a
speak-
thing in India.
Divide.
I know that's a thing.
Mobile gamers are not
So-
gamers. Sorry, hold on. Just gotta get
Okay,
this out
but
there.
Prime,
Yeah.
maybe this is the problem, right? Maybe we need to include mobile gamers into the category of gamers,
they're-
because if that's mostly women, right? And then maybe you could have esports categories specifically for mobile games, and then that would invite more women into esports, and it would give them a more inclusive space for them.
Maybe.
I
Hold on.
interject here one moment.
Conjecture.
I had no idea that Prime was mobile game phobic. I had no idea you just
He
canceled
is.
yourself, Prime.
Huh?
I
Fine,
had no
no,
idea.
it's
let
fine.
me put it this
I
way.
did.
Prime,
I did.
Okay.
not all of us have a cushy job as a Twitch politics host that we can afford these luxury video game rigs and play all these games we want. Some of us are restricted by poverty, and we only have our mobile phones to game on. And you know what? The competitive scene has come to mobile phones. There's PUBG on
LSP,
mobile.
I
Why not on
literally
phone?
see sound foam in
See?
your background.
So
Prime
You're
sits
not
at the
poor.
peak of the
Wait,
Twitch
I think we can do
Illuminati. He's the peak of the Twitch Illuminati. It's Prime.
No, no,
Okay,
no,
I
no.
will.
Look.
I will.
Yeah,
I would
so-
like to say one thing in favor of Prime. I would like to give him a backup. Okay,
Man, fuck
steal
Prime.
man a little bit here. As much as I am in favor of having more women in gaming, as I just don't want it to be middle-aged white women. Okay, middle-aged white women who play Candy Crush don't
Yeah.
have
Ageism and racism.
No love for the Karens,
So-
motherfucker.
So no, it's
fuck
fine.
The Karens, Karens playing Candy Crush, they don't
It's
have
fine. No,
Prime.
no, but that's
So,
that's the
like,
that's the
this is-
problem. So,
so, like-
this is the problem with the market. This is the
I
problem
got
with the
enough to make up
this is
for
the problem with the mobile gaming market, right? Is that there are the people who are playing these applications, these games, right? "Quote unquote" games, right? There are people who are playing them, but they aren't part of like the larger market. So like getting them to integrate into the larger gaming market, right? To say like people thought like mobile gaming would be a great entryway into like the more traditional gaming space, right? And it hasn't been. It just hasn't been the case. They tried to have been trying to monetize the space, and there are definitely ways to monetize that space, certainly, right? But to pull them into the more traditional way, and this was the thought. This was the thought among developers. It's like, okay, like we have a bunch of women who are playing these mobile games. This is the way. This is we finally found a way to pull these ladies in. We'll start here, and then they'll move over to other, and it just never happened. They just like they didn't do it, right? Because I guess, you know, maybe the problem is just the name, right? Like saying that, using the word gamers, right? Because they're certainly doing something, but like what traditional gaming is a different, is simply just a different market, a completely different market. And so maybe it would be better if we had two different words for these things, and then we wouldn't get them so confused. Because it's like okay, it's like people who bought the Wii, right? The original Wii, bought the Wii and only played Wii Sports. Are those people gamers, right? Who never went to a large market? Yeah, a bunch of grandmas, right? Grandmas and grandpas, right? Like playing this, and they were having fun. That's fantastic, right? But because literally the exact same thing happened. But because people thought like, well, look at the Wii's flying off the store shelves, right? And people playing Wii Sports, right? Like this is opening up us to a whole new markets. But it didn't. Those people just bought the Wii and it came with Wii Sports. Then that was it. So are those people gamers?
Casuals.
They're doing something, but they're not
Casuals.
But they're not gamers.
This is outright gatekeeping.
When are you a gamer? When are you a gamer? Am I a gamer? I play League of Legends to get my daily intake of salt, but I'm really bad at it.
Oh, that's fine. I don't care about your skill level. Skill levels. I'm not talking about skill level. That's fine. I don't care.
Wait, then why does it matter if they do it on mobile?
No. I'm saying
Mobile's trash. It's trash. It's non-competitive. It doesn't have any space in the esports market. It doesn't have any validity as being
There's
considered
PUBG
gaming.
mobile. Like there are.
I understand a lot. I understand a lot of you gamers are really upset because I know when your mom finds out that you used her credit card on those microtransactions, they'll freak the fuck out and probably kick you out of your fancy home. But look, you're not. It's not game. It's not gaming, my friend.
Yeah,
like
I think we need to rule on what gaming is, because there's games, they put them on mobile platform, people play them, some people even play them competitively.
Of games. I'm going to analyze the idea of games, and then there's like a literary definition, and then the philosophical definition. It's not fucking. It's not fucking games.
People are.
I'm going to invent a category and then gatekeep it.
So people.
Joe's not a gamer.
So no, I want to be clear. So because oh yeah, someone donated $10. Says, can you mute Doobie? He stinks. So that's what they said.
Fuck you, Doobie.
Yeah. So, but no. People actually want me. Hold on, no. I can expand on this, right? Like, it's not the platform. The platform isn't. That's why I literally bought in the Wii, right? The Wii is a traditional gaming console, right? And it had first party, third party, it had like the whole 9 yards. It was a traditional gaming console, right? And it got expanded to lots of people. A lot of people bought it. Like people from all kinds of demographics, all kinds of unusual for gaming demographics bought it. And then they bought nothing else. They didn't buy one more piece of software for it, right? And then they played Wii Sports, and then they put it on the shelf, and then that was it. right? So are those people gamers, right? So it's not the platform that's the problem, right? Like I wish I was one of those people very excited when I saw mobile gaming blow up. Like, yes, I want more people to be part of gaming.
Prime, what
So
makes people gamers?
Hold on. Let me get this out. So I desperately want to get more people, because the bigger the industry, the better, right? Like, I want more women gamers, first of all. Like, yes, fun, right? Like, I want one day a girlfriend who's a gamer. Like, one day, just a girlfriend who's a gamer.
Get this man a gamer girl now.
One step at a time.
That's what this is
One
about.
step at a time. I would love that, right? Just like I would love more women who like comic
That's what
books
this
and
is
like
about.
Japanese anime.
That's the only reason why you made this the topic. Brian.
No,
It's the
not
only
at all.
reason.
Not
Hold
at all.
on.
But and Japanese anime and all
Prime,
that, right?
then Layman, then Phil.
But I'm saying the people who have actually picked it up, yes, they're casuals, right? It's like just playing this, like playing like, was it Candy Crush, right? On your way to work, right? Just playing it just to pass the time there, right? Is that the same? Is that the same as a person who's like grinding fucking Bloodborne or League of Legends, right? Who's hitting up? No, is that the same?
Yes, it is.
the
Why
same?
is grinding in
Is it-
Candy Crush any less valid than grinding in League of Legends?
I think there's
Are
another
you
direction.
actually even grinding? I don't think you're grinding.
I feel like I'm
This
being
is
hard
okay.
on that one. I
Hold
like
up.
this is
Hold up.
Go ahead, Connor, and then Alice.
Yeah. Okay. Number one, we just found like the last form of acceptable bigotry in American culture.
Thanks,
Number
Prime.
two, I think we found against mobile gamers. Apparently, that's the last acceptable bigotry.
They're scum.
Additionally,
They're
I think
scum.
the root,
They're scum. Go ahead.
the
By
root,
2030, there'll be a
the root of the root of this problem is that Prime was looking for love.
No, all right.
He was looking for
You
his
know what?
elite
I
gamer
thought you were
girl.
going to say something clever. Okay.
And he met a bunch
Hey,
of
he did say something
casuals.
clever.
She's out there, Prime.
You know
He's
what?
met
You're
a bunch
not a
of
real
casual
gamer until you got a
mobile
girlfriend,
gamers.
Prime. You're just not a real girlfriend until you got a girlfriend.
Yep.
And you, my friend, you failed.
He met a bunch of casual mobile gamers, and he was so disappointed that he's decided to be fucking bitter against the mobile
Okay.
gaming industry for the rest of his
He's a
life.
mobile gaming. He's a mobile gaming incel. You only met women through mobile gaming, and they all rejected you. So now you have harbored resentment towards mobile gamers. And now you will only date women. You will only date women who are AAA gamers.
Pause. Seriously, I'm not sure if I think incels is now TOS thing to say. I think you can't like
Oh,
call a
is
person
it?
incel.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
yeah, it's
so
fine.
sorry.
But as
We'll
far
just
as I
use gamer.
understand- Oh yeah, that's fine. I
Casual,
just believe it's
casual.
TOS, and I don't care that you called me that. I just think it's TOS. So is my understanding of that.
No worries.
But we'll go to Alice and then KOE for more abuse. Great.
I'm just really confused at this point. So
Sure.
I've heard Prime say that Candy Crush is not a gamer, which is fine. Prime thinks mobile gamers aren't real gamers. Okay. I'm really confused where we're at in the topic, because so far I've heard us try to matchmake for Prime, and Prime, I mean, I know a lot of gamer girls, and I got your back. Like, I think you're great, so I can help you.
No. So
But I'm just like, where are we at the topic
So-
here? Because like,
So I think sorry. Go, so I think no. So the topic, I changed the topic to wondering, and I guess maybe you're away. It's wondering if mobile gaming is real gaming, and maybe I've actually gone too far. Right? No, I think the vast majority. I still think the vast majority of mobile gamers are not gamers. Right? But like there are, like some people said, there are some competitive scenes. Right?
okay.
And I think those they're maybe their intentions, right, and what they're actually trying to do with the game, right, might be a bit different from like the most of the casuals who interact with mobile gaming, right, who aren't trying to go anywhere deeper with the hobby, aren't trying to well, hold on, go ahead, Alex.
What does
respond.
deeper with a hobby mean?
I can,
So
I
wait,
can tell you, but go ahead.
I just want to address like okay, so first off, Asus made a ROG phone. I'm just saying, like, so Asus made a phone literally designed for mobile gamers.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they're not playing Candy Crush. They're
sucks.
not. No, it doesn't suck. It has very, very, very good specs. It has
Trash.
excellent specs, between 12 and 16
Trash.
gigs of RAM. It's got
Sure.
the best processor
Trash.
possible. It has active cooling. It's literally made for you to fucking play PUBG Mobile or whatever the fuck you're doing on the train.
I'm so excited.
But you
to
get
be
my
a pro
point.
gamer
They
on PUBG.
made a phone. They made a phone for mobile gaming. So
Hey,
so
what
obviously
made the better gamer
there
farm?
are mobile gamers. They exist.
So
right?
I already conceded your point before
They're
you
not
said
real
it.
gamers.
But I already conceded your point before you said it, right? That there could be gamers within a competitive scene, right? But just because but even then, I conceded what you're trying to say, but like what you actually said, I don't think actually matters. Like the fact that a company made a phone that's like designed for mobile gaming, like
I'm
that
serious.
itself doesn't
Fine.
actually mean anything. But
Well,
I already concede. But I concede your larger point that you're trying to make. So that I understand. And Joe, do you want? Oh, okay, wait, hold on. KOE, is that you wanted something?
Thank you. Now, there's when the question was asked, what does make a gamer? And to be honest, like when I'm at the poker table, this is a line I end up having to say quite a bit when I bust out somebody who got way too cocky, way too quick, and pushed all in too soon. It's like, sorry, son, you're not really a card player. You just play cards. And so that's just something to keep in mind when there is a big difference, and you'll know it when you get there. And also, but one thing that kind of kept coming to my mind when we were talking about this, we're kind of almost like talking like, how do we make Metallica more marketable to markets that don't really like Metallica? It's like, well, for the kind of people that like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing that those kind of people like. So you kind of got your market is what it is, and I don't know how like Metallica appeals to who they appeal to, and so that's just something that's kind of been in the back of my mind as I've been listening to all this. But now there's a lot of people are about ready to just like they're about to boil over on this topic, so I yield to all you people.
So let's go.
You just do what the music industry does and just do collaborations.
So let's go to LSP then Layman.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I want to point out, I think we got like to the root philosophy of all this, the philosophy of video games. There's no substantive difference between playing Candy Crush and playing Green Hell or any kind of survival game or playing legal. No, there's not.
I don't know
what
Green Hell is. I actually know what Green Hell is.
Well, I'm just using it as an example. Or League of Legends or Overwatch. You do it because it's fun. Right now, I don't know.
People do it for other reasons, not just because it's fun, right? Like, why do people play like a game like Bloodborne, right? Like when sometimes you aren't having fun, and Bloodborne, like Dark Souls, like a Soulsborne game, right? Like
it might frustrate you in the competitive and like how difficult it is, but the difficult things can still be fun.
No, I mean but I'm saying that you don't. I'm saying there's more than one reason, just not just to have fun. And people can be playing, of course, to make money, for instance, and not less like for having fun, like what KOE just mentioned, right? So like you could be like a poker player, right? But you're not playing poker just for funsies, right? Not just to like have a night with the boys. No, you're playing, this is your living, right? So I'm just saying though, right? So
it feels like a way of saying absolutely nothing. Like
no, you brought up a point and I responded to that point, that like whether or not you're saying that people play just for fun. And I'm saying there are other reasons, right? So if you can't concede there are other reasons people are playing games, like they're not maybe not everyone's playing it for the exact same reasons you're playing it. Maybe you wants to expand your thought processes.
I don't disagree that there are other reasons. I don't think. All
right. Well then, but then you just said for fun, and I said for other reasons as well. So I don't know why you're disagreeing with me.
Well, fun asterisk for all other reasons. What I'm saying though is you can't gatekeep one reason as valid, one reason as invalid for what makes a person.
Well, first of all, of course you can. Of course you can actually do that. You can actually absolutely say like. Again, so and people are too trapped on this mobile phone thing, right? Like, oh wow, you hate the platform. Again, I don't care about the platform. The platform is agnostic, right? So I say this, I say this also. Like I knew this woman, and I've seen other people like this, right? And we're like, I'll talk to them, and they'll say like, oh. I'm a gamer. Like, oh, great! Really, you're a gamer. What games do you play? Right? I'm interested in talking with them, getting to know them. And they'll say, oh, I play Super Mario Brothers. Me on yes and yes, yeah, I play Super Mario Brothers, right? So, are they gamers? People who maybe occasionally play Super Mario Brothers? Are they people who are part of the scene, who are trying out new games, who are even trying to increase their skill or to do speed runs or to anything, right? Other than just like I like this one thing and I'll
I
play
don't
this
think
one
they
thing.
have to
So
be.
if
I mean, this
if
conversation
if you read Cat in the Hat, right? If I ask you, do you like to read books? Oh, I love to read books, right? Like I'm definitely a reader. Like that's what I do, right? And you ask what books you read, like, oh, just Cat in the Hat. That's what I are those. Is that the same as the person who? Is that the same as the person who reads different novels? Who is part of?
athlete.
Is it the same person? Obviously not. Obviously, one's more intently devoted to being a reader, but that doesn't negate the fact they both read for the pleasure of reading.
Yeah.
In much the same way, two people can game for the pleasure of gaming. One might be more competitive at it, more invested in it. Yeah, I mean, one might be called a casual gamer, but that doesn't negate their status as a gamer. Well, apparently Prime decides for reasons.
Prime decides. Prime's the objective gamer.
This just
I do decide.
further divides the gap.
do
Of like
decide.
why women might not be wanting.
I'm on this hill.
Women might not be included in it.
Joe,
Like,
hold on,
we're
one
like,
second,
you're not a gamer.
One second, Joe.
You don't share my hobbies.
Everybody, please.
LA mentor.
Yeah. I wanted to try to bring it off of this now because this is like really fucking chaotic. You said something earlier about like we were talking about like Nintendo or something, like Nintendo consoles and Prime. You said something earlier about how those were like the more like traditional or more, I guess you could say, like neutral,
like the Wii.
Yeah, like the Wii. Yeah, you mentioned the Wii as an example. So
yeah, sure.
So this is something and I guess I got to preface this now because all of my claims. I keep saying I have questions in my head and I keep prefacing them like claims. So so there's a question.
Okay, sure.
And I'm gonna roll through this. So Nintendo, I have heard this and I just want to confirm with all you guys if this is true. So I hear that Nintendo consoles have a more gender diverse audience than the Xbox and the PlayStation. Is that correct?
I would say so. I would say so. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I would say so.
So maybe
have you seen them? They make all types of fucking colors. You get
damn right they do. Damn right they do.
White, black. That's it. Like clearly they have a target demographic that they're targeting to. I mean, we can go deeper down that rabbit hole, and I can
but I want to roll it into something else. This is another potential prescription. I just want to throw it out there, the conjecture, see what everybody thinks of it. So, maybe Nintendo consoles could invest more in competitive Nintendo games. And then those could be a thing in the esports market.
They don't want to do it.
Yeah, we talked about Mario Kart previously.
Yeah,
but not just Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Not just Mario Kart. Like more Nintendo-oriented games, original games that are specifically tailored.
It would be great if they did that. For instance, we would love for them to do that. Smash Brothers is extremely popular, but Nintendo is actively fighting against Smash Brothers competitions. Like it shut one down, right? Nintendo actively fought against the Smash Brothers melee scene. I wish they did. Like that would be great. It would be great because I think you are right. I think it would bring in more women because it just happens to have a more diverse audience because its games are not the usual, right? Nintendo's one of the most imaginative companies out there. I definitely agree with you. I think that would be a great way. But Nintendo has been dicks, just like the worst, the fucking worst.
Then boycott
protective of their IPs, like,
and change the
might
culture,
have anything to do with
Like,
the fact that Nintendo probably doesn't see esports as the wave of the future. I mean, there has to be a greater reason.
their community also doesn't do themselves any fucking favors.
Guys, Jesus Christ, it's also obvious. Can I please point this out?
Okay.
Nintendo, number one, Prime is an elitist and he hates casuals.
Sure.
Dick.
Women are disproportionately casuals. And Nintendo is catering to casuals disproportionately.
You're going to draw that? You're going to close that circle?
By the logic of transitive property, Prime doesn't like casual women.
Brian, your chat just told me I'm a
part of the problem,
You almost hit it. You're going to close that circle. Okay, great.
Only
your
elite
chat
women
I
knew this was going to come back.
I advocated for the abolishment of the current esports structure, and then I got pushback on that. But it seems like we understand that this shit is so broken that we can't even have like a coherent conversation about it without devolving into chaos. Like,
although
it is very fun.
What about the esports scene would you abolish? Maybe I missed that part of the conversation.
All of it, from the game design all the way to the marketing, has to drastically change to something that's much more inclusive and way more just authoritarian in terms of like its tolerance in terms of certain things like speech and things like that. Like that's the one thing that I think companies could do And most people probably wouldn't care, and they'd probably be like, "Yeah, this is so great. I feel protective." Like, but at the same time, like no company wants to actually go that full authoritarian route in terms of speech limitation. They skirt around
Why
the fine
would
line
they?
of
It
certain
would
words.
probably be
that
bad
are-
for their market. That's why they're not doing it, right?
When it though, we don't have any proof of a company doing that.
Is this an off gamer
Yes!
argument? Are you making an authoritarian gamer argument?
This is
Yeah, I'm
gamer-
saying that game companies have to
Joe
be
is
way
the
more
gamer, Pinky.
authoritarian. No, I'm saying game companies have to be way more authoritarian on the speech that they accept and the things that they accept within their game spaces, especially online.
Doesn't Twitch already do that a lot?
Anti-gamer language in this
No.
is that gamers are the most oppressed class.
No gamer language allowed. Also, Prime
true.
your chat called me a casual gamer, so I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm already being oppressed.
Gamers are
There is
the
a
best
woman
class.
here
This
who
has been
you have-
already established.
Like that ass. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Like
friend
why shouldn't words that are harmful and dangerous be banned from games? Period.
So you mean just the
It
gaming
never
scene?
seems to hit that full extreme.
I mean, would
They
it
always
really
go
be a
just-
Modern Warfare 2 lobby if there wasn't like the N-word flying around?
Yeah, if there wasn't a 10-year-old shouting the N-word
Yeah,
every
there wasn't a
5 seconds.
12-year-old talking about how to
really want to
sexify
get
mom.
rid of that?
No.
Yo, Doobie. Yo,
Play Call of
Doobie.
Duty if I don't.
Yeah,
get
this is
along.
cultural.
Yo, Doobie,
Doobie,
you
you
gotta
there?
get in on this.
Doobie, you there? Fam?
He's gone.
Doobie?
Doobie?
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's just a frog.
I was wondering why he was so quiet this whole time.
Because I was about to say, I'm getting more and more on his side in terms of taking people's voting rights away.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. Oh,
this
he
is-
missed that
these are
part.
all-
He missed it
If I
too.
may,
He
if I
missed
may.
it.
Now, guys, this has been an amazing Prime roast this evening, just a continual roast of Prime. And I'm almost wondering, where's Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin? Is Sinatra going to show up and belt out a few tunes?
See, these,
got 'em all in you,
these
buddy.
references are why we think you're super old. But go ahead.
He's 35. Isn't that weird?
I was raised by my grandparents on most of the weekends, and they would
It
watch the old
shows.
Johnny Carson shit. And so, yeah, I do have a couple of old school moves. What can I say?
Okay.
Hold on. So this is, but this is ridiculous. Okay, like video games is art. Okay, you don't ever censor art. You just
Yeah.
create new and better and more varied art. So this thing like don't use gamer words is
Oh.
obnoxious.
Whoa.
You guys are about to fucking be
statues of
hypocrites.
Egyptian
You're about to be
pharaohs
hypocrites and be
because they're
closer to my
assholes.
side. You're
All
about
of
to be
the
closer to my
Egyptian
side.
pharaohs were giant fucking assholes. You don't destroy their statues because we can still learn about historical art techniques. So,
Okay,
I'm
look,
sorry,
look.
Counter is absolutely 1,000% correct here. You do not
no.
destroy art.
Remember, I'm for the censoring. I'm for the authoritarian censoring
You're
of
allowed to be
hateful
wrong.
speech and
That's
symbols
okay.
in
We're
games.
all wrong in a few
Alice.
things except the king of extreme, and you're allowed on this one.
Alice.
Okay. So I agree with you in one respect. We should not censor games themselves. If you want to play fucking Postman, go play Postman. It's fine. I get it. But on the other hand, what we should censor is the actual expression in a game. So somebody like, you know, fucking Call of Duty, you could censor people in Call of Duty. You can say, you know what? You can't use the F word in Call of Duty. You can't yell about how you're gonna fuck somebody else's mom because it's just not conducive.
That's
The
half
environment.
of
ladder
the
is so
experience.
fun.
Half
The
of the
ladder-
experience is talking about how you're
Okay.
gonna fuck somebody's mom as a
No,
15-year-old.
No.
Hey,
You know what? I'll grant you that. I'll grant you that. I do want to be told about
Again,
what
censor
graphic
it all.
14-year-olds are going to do to my mom, but I don't think I need certain slurs to be used in games. Like I think we can say there can be a
That's what the
base
mute
level
button is
of
for.
acceptability.
No.
Yes, I agree with you. But on the other hand, you were talking about how you make games more approachable. You make games more approachable by having somebody not be able to be like, go back into the kitchen.
Oh my
That's
god.
literally
Okay,
my
hold,
take.
hold the fuck up.
I like the
Hold the fuck
Nintendo
up.
prescription.
This
for
is important. This is fundamentally important.
It is.
I do not want. God damn it! Am I robot?
Yes, you're roboting again,
Yeah.
Connor.
Keep going.
No,
Young
don't
power
keep
crew.
going. Just wait a second.
Try it again.
Let's just.
Try it again.
All right, we'll wait, and then when you get
Okay.
guys start
Okay. All right. Well.
moving stuff.
You're. Oh.
Hi.
Joe, we hear you. We hear you.
How are
Go.
you, folks?
Go ahead. Try
I
it
hear
again.
you, but you're frozen. Your camera's
Okay.
frozen.
So
There you go.
I do not want a society in which white people unilaterally get to make fun of black people, Jewish people, trans people, gay people, all that kind of stuff. What I want is I want a society in which we can all make fun of each other, where somebody drops some slurs and you hit them with the white genocide. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, so I just want equal shittiness across all human beings. Okay, I want to call I want to call Shadows the K word, and then I want him to tell me about how he fucked my mom, and how I'm an inbred, toothless piece of shit, and how basically the white race is going extinct because of the manipulations of his people.
Look,
and I want
Yeah,
both of
my
us to
people
laugh
are
about
importing
it.
so many Hispanics. Okay.
Exactly. That's the kind
gotta
of
say,
banter
We're
I
importing all the
want in my.
Hispanics.
I'm
We
gonna
got
be
the New
so
World
happy
Order
when I
behind
take your
our
voting
backs,
rights
baby.
away. Oh, I'm gonna love
Exactly.
every
You want
minute
to
of
take
it.
that away
Oh.
from me is,
You
it's
are
contrary
racing
to
your
freedom.
damn kind, your damn Christian
Connor.
white Connor. Okay.
No, I mean you
like,
can do all that. You can do all that, Connor. You're just not allowed to vote. Like, I mean, if that's the world you want to live in, you can join my campaign.
Connor, you're so pro degeneracy tonight. I love it, man. I
How
love
we want
it.
more women to be joining, and Connor's over here like, yeah, I want you all to be able to yell slurs at each other.
Yeah.
So I
I
think that'd be more inclusive.
yelling slurs
Oh,
at
we
me.
make it more
I want them to be
inclusive.
talking about my
but
dick
then I
size.
say
We make it
but
more
then I
inclusive for
say,
the women
Connor, you
to
sound
also
like
say the
chicken
slurs.
dick.
That's
but then
how
I
you
say
win.
full authoritarian
Sexism, baby.
censorship, and it's like, oh, that's not too far. Like, come on, man.
Okay.
Guys, non-binary path.
Listen,
Okay.
listen. I just want women to be able to use anti-white racial slurs against
That's
gamers.
not
Okay,
gonna
that's
help.
all I
Okay.
want.
Not gonna help me. I can
Yeah.
talk about how small your
My
dick.
world is my reality is way closer
we-
than
we've
yours,
got
Connor.
It's not.
I don't think so.
So I
don't think so.
think it's
I
not
think
the
I have
same.
I think I have a reasonable criticism of Connor.
Okay. I think we have many readers, but there's not
No,
just
but
one.
I
but
think,
go ahead.
No, but I
go
mean
ahead,
one
lead
that
man.
I think one that
Fire
like gets
away.
the point across to him. So Connor, the whole problem is we're talking about how like it's like male dominated and shit, right? The problem is if you have like a minority women, right, who are also saying the slurs back, usually what's going to happen in these situations, you're going to have like one woman who's saying, oh, you're dickless, but then there's going to be 10 fucking dudes who are like, oh, this stupid fucking whore is saying that he's dickless. What a stupid fucking whore. And then you have like 10 dudes on one woman and shit, right? So that is a pitfall. But I want to prep, but I also want to add, I don't know about the censorship stuff as
You're
well.
for it.
You know what? Hold up. If Alice,
You'll be united in grief for the first few days, and then you'll just be united. All right. Like,
I think
Alice,
I think
hold on. If
well,
Alice
okay.
wants to create a gaming exclusively for allies, people of color, and LGBTQ folk to bully gamer boys in Xbox Live chat, I will happily join that group.
if I can't have that, if I can't,
that would be
if I can't have that for black people, you can't have it for gamers.
No,
all right?
we're gonna have it for
made
everybody.
explicitly clear
Look.
that is cringe, and ethno states are cringe.
No, we're gonna have it for everybody. We're gonna have like a group where it's everybody but the white gamers, and then we just join groups with them, and they're like, "Hey, so I've heard from your mom that your dick is really small."
A rainbow coalition of gamers.
Okay. LSP, you want to say something?
This is getting
sorry, that was maybe too far.
Okay. All right. Well then, so what happens now is that we're going to roll into a walk-on panel.
Wait! I do have something to say. I wrote you a poem. I wrote you a poem.
Oh boy.
Would you like to hear it?
No, I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I actually don't want to hear
it.
it. You can just DM me the poem. Thank you. That's great. Anyway,
First they came for the mobile gamers, and I said nothing because I was not a mobile gamer. And they came for the casuals, and I said nothing for I was not a casual. I'm talking about you, Prime, because nobody's gonna speak up when they come for you, dude.
That's good. That's good. I want them to come for me. I deserve to be canceled. So throw me in the same gulag as you will those casual gamers. They don't deserve to be with the rest of society. All right, now moving on. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. We're gonna roll into a walk-on panel. So the stream is not ending. The stream is not ending. Oh God, the stream is not ending. I'm gonna give these amazing people an exit. Then yes, we will continue on with the fun. So I will begin with Alice. Alice, thank you for coming through. Alice, we had a lot of we had a really good time with you. You really jumped in here and mixed up well with the rest of these people. So I definitely want you back on this panel again. You were a lot of fun. So how you doing?
I am doing fantastically. I would love to come back. This was actually more fun than the Amazon Lily panel, even though the Amazon Lily panel is much more chill. You can find me on Twitch, Alice After All. It's literally linked in the chat over there. You can join the Discord server that I moderate on, discord.gg/Calliopean Club. And if you can't spell, I'm sure somebody can help you with that, with the exclamation point Eris there. In chat. Come harass me if you want to talk about weird stuff. I'm happy to do one-on-ones or whatever. And I do political streams like this, and this is all I do. So,
all right, awesome. Thank you so much. Seriously, Alice, I'm very happy that we could have you here today. We definitely need to make that happen again. Next, we have Joe Lewis, our local MVP. Joe Lewis, thank you for coming through once again. I love how passionate you get with all these topics. You are definitely there's definitely no one like you, and I mean this actually in the best way. There's definitely no one like you in this space. So like yeah, I appreciate you spending time with us.
Yeah, and I appreciate coming through. Just full disclosure, every take I said is actually not the take that I actually hold. I literally just wanted to just kind of have some fun and LARP on some right wing cringe every once in a while. Because Connor knows in some conversations that him and I had, some of the takes that I did on certain topics are not even close to the position that I actually hold. So this was kind of fun in that regard. But if you want to actually hear what I actually want to talk about and what I actually hold and believe, you can find me at twitch.tv/Joe Lewis. The O is a 0. So if you got a little upset about my yikesy takes, just understand it's gonna be okay. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. All right. You got your boy Biden in office. Your stimmy's coming through on Wednesday. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna use all that for those microtransactions for all of you quote unquote gamers. I'm using gamers in air quotations for all those mobile people out there.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Next, we will go to Connor. Connor. One of our absolute favorites, right? Fan favorite, or at least my favorite, because fuck the fans, right? I mean, hold on, we've already had that discussion. Connor, thank you so much for stopping by once again. We want you here every week, Connor, and we're so glad that you oblige us.
Yeah, no, my sincere pleasure. This was a shitload of fun. Alice, I probably am going to take you up on that like one-on-one conversation thing. I think that'd be super fun. And no, I mean, like I it's really good that we hash these things out from different perspectives. And I'm probably roboting. God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started to notice it. It's an improvement.
Needless to say, I'm a big fan of Whereby. Okay, if you want to find me, I'll just keep it brief. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good, dude. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So YouTube, literally type in Counterpoints. I should be the top channel. Twitter, Connorpoints, CONORPOINTS, CONORPOINTS. Come follow me. We'll fight, and that's it. Love you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Next we have LSP, the man who's inherently jealous of the place in my heart that Joe and Connor inhabit. LSP though, I still love you too. I want you to know that you're very much appreciated. I'm sorry I made you feel that you weren't, and I'm just happy you're around, buddy.
Okay. Okay,
That's it.
I'll give my take. The ideal game Prime would definitely endorse the panel. It's a panel simulator. Basically, you play as a guy on a panel. You get to play as 7 guys and 1 chick, except the chick's trans, and one of the guys is Mexican, but he got his status as a Mexican revoked and became an honorary white. And you discuss how to get games more inclusive for women. And then you get to sell that game. And basically it's a simulation of like how well it sells on Steam. And if it sucks, you made a bad game, right? That's how it's going to be. Beyond that, had a lot of fun. Thanks everyone. Content you should go subscribe to. Check out Riley Grace Rashong. I'm sure a lot of you know who that is. She does a lot of good evidence-based content. It's really good stuff. I would recommend everyone go subscribe to her.
Yeah, I forgot the fake Jew, dumbass.
Wait. Fuck you, Prime. There.
I have to make sure that you got that in. I'm so happy. Doobie, are you asleep?
No, I'm here.
Doobie, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for being the lovable, kind person that you always are. Doobie.
No, he's an asshole.
Doobie, tell the world about yourself.
Yeah. So, I just really quickly earlier I said that counterpoints was 5,000 times dumber than Alice. I actually meant contrapoints, right? And that is 1,000% your fault. So yeah, get a better name.
All good, buddy. I figured it out.
It's only half true with Connor here. Okay.
I actually agree with Doobie on that.
That being said, discord.gg/politics or politics.gg. I help run the server. Greatest debate server on Discord. If you're not on it, you're a head ass. And yeah, we had a great time.
All right, absolutely. Don't be a head ass. And you learn how to avoid that. Thanks so much, DB. Next, we have Layman. Layman, another person who came in actually quite late onto this panel, but we're so happy that he decided to come aboard. Thank you, Layman, for being so kind as to help us fill a gaping hole within our roster. Layman, tell the world about yourself.
Yeah, hi. My name is Layman. If you want to, you can find me on Twitter. I changed my name in the Discord to it. I don't know if you see it on the side there, if it shows up or wherever the fuck it is, but it's @lay_man_. And if you go follow me on Twitter, you can find in my bio a link to my YouTube channel where I post a lot of conversations that I have similar to this on various different topics. I have like a couple kind of old, kind of outdated video essays in there where my opinions on those topics have kind of changed over time. And the occasional meme. But yeah, it's basically just a channel where I post my thoughts on shit, and I try to articulate my thoughts on different political and topics and social topics and philosophy and all that shit. So yeah, if you enjoyed me on this panel for whatever reason, you can go hop on there and you can follow me there. And if you hated me, feel free to DM me or talk to me, whatever you want to do. I'm 100% willing to talk to you. I love you, audience. And with that, yeah, I think I'm good. I love this. I love this conversation. Both conversations were great, but this, I feel like gamer conversations about gaming on these types of platforms never really happen. And if they do happen, they're a shit show. There's some weird Sargon of Akkad bullshit. But this is Kino right here. This is ace. This conversation is the best gamer conversation.
On dating problems for Prime. Usually the root of all the gamer problems.
That was like a tenth of the conversation, right? Most of this conversation, by the standards of gaming conversations on the internet, is probably like a 10 out of 10. So with that, based, I loved it. It was great. All of you were great. Even Doobie was great. And yeah.
Thanks so much. Awesome. All right. Moving on, we have KOE. KOE, who's come through. KOE, again, I'm so happy that we found you. You are a singular human being. There's no other experience quite like you, KOE. But KOE, thank you for spending time and coming back for like the third time to my channel. Tell the world about yourself.
Okay. Yes, they truly did break the mold when they made me. For those who do not know, folks, I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE. You can find me at KOE Nation on Twitch and YouTube. Definitely check them both out on YouTube. We are going to get into the Sweet 16 bourbon tournament, so you beautiful people will know what is the bourbon of extreme and what's the one you need to keep on your shelves. And so KOE Nation on Twitch and YouTube is where you can check that out for all of your KOE content. But I also make appearances on Big Bucket Empire on YouTube and Facebook, the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and Spotify, and also Dad's Worldwide and the Yanked Up Podcast on YouTube, because I'm a man too extreme for one show. But folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Raise a glass to yourself. And folks, be sure to subscribe. Follow the Prime K's panel for amazing discussions like this. One of the most beautiful, erudite, marvelous, intelligent audiences in all God's creation is right here, folks. And you were here to see it. And folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Check out the GoFundMe if you'd like to. Your prayers are appreciated. Oliver Strong, and I yield back to you, beautiful people.
God damn, I'm so fucking jealous. I wish if I had like even
What
a
an
quarter of your
ass.
charisma, right? I'd be like blowing Hassan out of the water by now. God damn it. Thank you, Kaylee, for being so kind. And yes, the GoFundMe he mentioned is for a good cause to help someone out experiencing childhood cancer. It's in chat. Everyone, please check that link out. If you have a few ducats bouncing around in your pocket, go spend it here for a very worthy cause. And then also after that, join the fight for Medicare for all, so that we can actually take care of this problem once and for all, right? Thank you so much for everyone who may have gone to that GoFundMe. And I'll remind again. I'll do it again through the rest of the stream. Try to get some more people to head over there because we want to help out. Thanks so much, KOE.
Thank you, sir. I'm in your debt, sir.
Absolutely. Next, last but not least, well, maybe Shadows. Shadows. Shadows.
Last and least. Damn.
Shadows.
You really went there.
Really appreciate you being here, as always, friend. No, seriously, we always appreciate you and your takes, even if they aggravate me. In fact, I especially like them when they aggravate me because we have something to talk about. Shadows, again, thank you for spending time here with my community.
Yeah, jokes aside, it's always good to be here, even if you think I am least in certain takes, but that's fine. I'll just say in my last take, it is important to get more women involved in gaming because we live in a misogynist culture and gamers are the most oppressed class. If you want to know where to find me, though, you can go over to twitch.tv/Shadows of Liberty. I like to talk politics, mainly econ and public policy, but I also do non-political stuff like gaming and playing piano, and those are always apolitical streams that people are invited to be on. And in fact, I'm going to be playing some piano right after this. So if you want to come listen to my chill jazz piano, feel free to hop over to twitch.tv/Shadows of Liberty. You can also follow me on Twitter to see my shit neolib takes in real time on your timeline. So that's at Shadows_Liberty. But yeah, that's all.
All right. So that'll be it. That'll be it for this panel. Again, we're rolling on to our walk-on panel after this, and we would, of course, love for any of these fine individuals to join us, but if not, that's okay. Thank you for spending your time, your energy, your passion, your knowledge with my audience. I know they appreciate it just as much as I do. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It was wonderful.